So what we'll do, what we'll do is we'll use a new project, okay, a very simple, basic project. No, no template, just it's going to be really, really simple, okay? No project, like sorry, no template. So whatever template we use, we just use a very basic one, very basic template, no design, okay, to make it easier for all of us. Okay, so without wasting much time already, because already we've wasted about 30 minutes. Okay, so we wasted about 30 minutes. So I'll go ahead and share my entire screen. Okay. So that, all right. So it's more like a discussion. Okay. So and if there's any way you find difficult, or if I move too fast, or I try to explain something that we are lost, okay, just please do well to draw my attention back, and I will explain that again. Okay, so before we dive into actual coding, okay, before we dive into actual coding, all right, let's see how we can understand the theory behind these things. The theory behind these things. So first of all, we start with the model relationship. Okay. So first of all, we start with the model relationship. Okay. All right. So we said that. All right. So we said that we have three basic model relationship in Django. We have the many to many. We have the many to one. We have the one to one. Okay. So I'll try to see how I can use this table to explain this for us. Okay. So I wish I could. Let's see. I'm looking for a way this thing could just fit in one page. It's not fitting in one page. All right, so for instance, let's take these two tables for example. Right? So I'll just be editing this table if where necessary. I'll just edit the table where necessary. Okay, so if we look at these two tables, for instance, this is a profile table and a users table. Okay, the users table. All right, so and if you look at this table, each of these table has column. Okay, like for instance, in the in the users table, we have the ID, we have the username, we have the email, first and last name. Okay, and within these columns, we have records. Okay, so records are basically a row. So this complete row, okay, that is one record in that table. Okay, so this other row here is another record in that table, and so on and so forth to get to the fit one. Okay, so same thing with the profile. We have 4 columns here, right? So the columns are basically the fields. Okay, when I say columns, I mean fields. And if I say rows, I mean the records. Okay, so these fields or these columns, all right, for the profile, we have four fields, right? The ID field, the picture field, the bio field, and then the users field. Okay, and then the users field, right? And then within this field, we have 4 records, or we could say 4 rows. Okay, and we have the first row, the second row, and third and last row there. Okay, so now each of these table has data being filled in. Okay, if you look at this table, the users table, sorry, we have the first record. They have an ID of 1. Okay, and the users, they have the username. There's a username of user 1, and an email, last name, and first name and last name as well. Same thing for the second row or the second record, which has the ID of let's say 2. Sorry, yeah, the ID of 2, and then we have user 2. Sorry, we have user 2. Probably, and you could see that we have the same email across all of them. Okay, we have the same email across all of them here. Okay, that shows us, okay, that this row, or should I say this column, sorry, that this column is not what is not unique. Okay, this column is not unique, meaning that if we want to, should I say, if you want to identify a particular record from a particular record, we could do that either using what, this ID or the username, because those two fields are unique. Like they are unique, they do not repeat themselves. If you say we have 1 to 5, and within this we not have any way that we have 1 or 2 repeated. Okay, same thing with the IM, same thing with the username here. Okay, then coming to the profile table, we have another record, another bunch of records. Okay, so now if we look at this, okay, if you look at this, we have what we call the ID field, the picture field, the bow field, and the user field. Now, if you notice now, the user field, I did not come here to put like the username or should I say the user itself, or like their last name or the first name. Okay, so what I did here was I inputted numbers. Okay, numbers, right? And these numbers say, if you can see, these numbers say do not repeat themselves there, right? That numbers there do not repeat themselves there. Okay, now these numbers, what do these numbers signify? These numbers signify a table in another. This number here signifies an ID in another table. Okay, and that table is the user table. So now we can say that there is a relationship between this table. So there's a relationship between the profile table and the users table. Okay, and this relationship can be linked using this last rule, right? This relationship can be established or can be linked, or should I say can be created or can be made using this last field in the profile table. Okay, so now may looking at this, what kind of relationship can we establish this to be? Okay, we could say that this kind of relationship is known as a one-to-one relationship, meaning that if you look at this, no record or no ID here repeated itself. Okay, each ID comes in ones and one. Okay, meaning that only one user is entitled to what? Only one user is entitled to what? One record in this table. Okay, only one user is entitled to one record in this table. Okay, and only one user here. Okay, and only one profile here can be given to only one user up there. Okay, so with that, we can say that we've established a one-to-one relationship between the user table and the profile table. So now the problem is now what? The problem here is now, where do we establish this relationship? Okay, because if we come here and say that, all right, let this role, okay, be in this table here. Okay, it is now the user table that is establishing what? The relationship with the profile table. Okay, so wherever we establish this relationship, okay, whichever table we establish this relationship, it is that table, okay, that is relating with another table, not the other way around. Okay, so what I mean here is, let's see, let me come down here and say that so let's say we have in the above example which we just did, we have the profile table. Okay, we have the profile table, and we just established a one-to-one relationship. Okay, we just established a one-to-one relationship. Okay, with what? With the user table. Okay, with the user table. So now the correct way of seeing this or of reading this is saying that someone has a question.
No, let's progress. I don't think there's a question.
Okay. All right. So now the best way of seeing this is saying that it is the profile table that has a one-to-one relationship with what? The user table, but not the other way around. Okay, it is where is this relationship starting from? Okay, it is, remember I said that this thing is a one-way thing. Okay, it's a one-way thing, meaning that if that's why when someone asked in one of our class if we can call many to one same thing as one to many, I said no, that we can't do that in Django because it's a one-way thing. So now, assuming we have another, let's say another relationship, okay, let's say a profile, same, okay, let's use this profile again, and then we have a many to one relationship. Many to one relationship in the sense that we use what? Foreign key, foreign key, foreign key, okay, foreign key. All right, that's how we establish with a many to one relationship, what the user table. So now, how would we see this? We will see this in a way, in the correct way of seeing this is saying that the profile has a many to one relationship with what the user. So now, if you want to read this in a international, because one thing about relationship, the thing is that this relationship, I said that the way we establish relationship is dependent on what the programmer, or it's how the programmer understands the task at hand. Okay, that's exactly how he replicates it in the code. Okay, because at times how I do it is, once I want to, if I have two tables, okay, that I wish those tables to relate with each other, if I cannot interpret that table in plain English, okay, like if I cannot read that relationship in plain English, okay, I might not actually understand what is going on there. Okay, so I'll explain to you what I mean reading it in plain English. So let's say we have this second one here that says a profile having a many to one relationship with what the user table, right? Not the user having many to one relationship with what the profile. It is where you establish the relationship. That's where you start to read it, right? So if it's with the if you establish it at the profile table, it is not the profile table that has that many to one relationship with what the user table. And as the name sound, or as we hear the name many to one, okay, it means that what more than one record of a profile what can belong to what to one user. That's reading it now in what in plain English. I've removed that foreign key. I've removed that foreign key thing. They have now read what in plain English. So now I now have a task, okay, and I say, okay, how do I solve this task? Okay, how do I solve this task? Right. So now, assuming we have this kind of task where a client comes to me and says, okay, fine, I need a situation, okay, where I can assign more than one employee, okay, to a particular what task, okay, and so and now okay now I now get the client complaint now. Okay, like the clients want a situation where he can assign what more than one employee to what to one task, okay, and I say, okay, fine. How do I solve this? First of all, what do I need? I need two tables, okay. The first table is what? The tax table, right? The tax table. The second table is what? The employee table, right? The employee table. And now the man said that he needs a way which he can assign what? More than one tax, okay? More than one tax to what? To one employee, okay? That he wants one employee to handle one tax, okay? At that point, which table do I give this relationship? Okay, having the problem of he wants more than what one task to be assigned to one employee. Where do I assign this relationship? Is it in the employee table or in the tax table? Now have in mind, okay, have in mind that it is where we assign this relationship. That's where we start to read that relationship to the next table. Okay, so in a situation like this, where do we assign the foreign key? Is it in the tax table or in the employee table? Sorry, I remember I said that this class will be more like a discussion class, so you guys do more talking. Okay, so I expect us to talk. Okay, so where
I think
do I
it should
assign?
be in the task table.
In the tax table, okay, in the tax table. Okay, so now okay, why do you think it should be in the tax table, not in the employee table?
Sorry, I think it should be in the employee table because it's a relationship, is a one-to-many relationship, right?
It's a one-to-many relationship.
So it should be in the employees table because one employee should be able to undo many tasks.
Now have in mind, okay, have in mind that I said that in Django we only have many to one relationship.
Okay.
We don't have one to many.
Oh,
now,
yeah, that's true.
if you are
So if
assigning
it's
a
many to
foreign
one,
key,
then
Django sees it as a one, okay, as a
yes,
many
it
to one
should be in
relationship. And
the
I said that
task table.
where we assign that relationship, that's where we start. I said that the way Django reads many a foreign key relationship, okay, Django reads a foreign key relationship has many to one, okay, and not one to many, okay. And then depending on where we place this relationship, that's depending on the table we place this relationship, that is where Django will start to read from there to the other table, okay. So if I place, assuming we have two tables, the profile and the user table, right? Now I went ahead and placed a foreign key, or that's a many to one, right? A foreign key on a profile. Django will start from that profile and read it as many down to user as one. So now if I want to interpret what I've done here in plain English, okay, because to understand this, you need to interpret it in plain English, okay. So to understand how that thing will, how this table will relate, you have to interpret the relationship in what plain English. So depending on where we place it, that's where we start to read it, okay? So for a foreign key being placed on a profile to link to where to a user table, it means if I want to interpret it in plain English, I'm simply saying that many profile, okay, will be assigned or will be given to one user, okay? That's what it means. Many profile will be assigned to one user. So, and I come up with an instance of saying that an employee walks up to us, okay, a KodeCamp learner, like any of us on this call, okay, and I ask us, okay, please, I want you to create or to solve a problem for me. That the problem is currently he or she is currently facing is that he wants the ability to assign more than one task to one employee. So, and I said, okay, more than one task, that is many to one. Depending on where we place it, that's where we start to read it, okay? So now, and I said, how do we solve this task, right? How do we solve this task? So I said that, first of all, we need what? Two tables, right? First of all, we need what? Two tables. Yes, the call is on record. Yes, I think, I believe the call is on record. So now Hannah said that to solve this task or to solve this problem, we need what? More than, sorry, we need what? Two tables. First of all is the task table, because that table will now hold all the number of what? Tasks. Second of all is what? The employee table. So now, and I said, where will we place this foreign key? Given that this problem was given to any of us, where will we place this relationship? Is it on the tax table or on the employee table? If it's on the tax table, where do you place it there? If it's on the employee table, where do we place it there? So,
for me, I think you are going to place it in the tax table because many tax to one employee.
Okay. So, is there any other person that has something different than something to contribute or different to what he just said?
I think you place it on the employee table under user.
No, and leave the user out of it, okay? So we just stick to these two tables here, right? Just stick to these two tables, right? The tax and the employee, right? Leave the user and the rest of them and the profile, right? So we have tax and employee, and a client comes up to us and say that he wants to assign more than one tax to what? One employee. Where do we place this relationship?
Okay, I think so. It's going to be placed in the task because Django reads from where you place the relationship to the other part, like in many to one relationship. It starts from where you place the foreign key to read as many to one to the other table you're linking to.
Okay, that's very good. Something different. Any other? So two people have said tax and someone else said employee. So you have 2-1. Is there anyone that want to balance it to be 2-2?
You are asking a particular ID or let me say field to put the foreign key, because there has to be a field that will link the two tables.
Yes,
together.
yeah, it has to be a field, okay. But where will that field be? Okay, on which table will that field be?
Will the field be? Okay.
Yes. that field, will it be?
It certainly will be on the tax table, because let's look at it as the employee is the user and the task is the profile, just as you have on the foreign key code. So you have to have it in the task linking to the employee as many to one.
Okay. So far, all the conversations are actually correct. Okay, except the one that said the employee. Okay, but it's okay. It's okay. Because remember, I said that the way this thing works is based on how we actually understand the tax at hand. Okay, I said that this relationship is dependent on the developer, but at times there are situations where we have a tax and you have to pound and think and try to figure out, because the way coding works, okay, you don't just get tax and then you jump on your system and start coding, right? To me, I don't do that. I get to work and I live like, and I give myself like 48 hours. That 48 hours, I don't use it to code, or I don't use it to. The only thing I do within that 48 hours is pen and paperwork. That pen and paperwork is probably I'm walking along the road and something will hit me. When I come back, like something will hit, like an idea of how to actually solve the task. Okay, you just come to me, I come back and I put it down. So at the end of the day, I might have like 5 ideas, right? And then having five ideas, that's many varieties. Okay, so now what I do is an analysis which one satisfies this task more appropriately. Okay, so with time, okay, honestly, with time, we'll understand this relationship. Okay, the thing is that what to do is that once you get the task, try to read the task in plain, like try to read the relationship in plain English. So in this case, the correct one would be many to one, placing that foreign key in a field under the tax table, so that Django can read it as what an employee having as many tasks given to what one employee. All right, so many, one or more than one. Okay, one or more than one given to a particular task, right? So let's say we have another situation, right? We have another situation where a client comes up to us, okay, and then lays his or her complaint, right, and says, okay, in my company, that he cannot distinguish, right, from Mr. A from Mr. B. Okay, how do I differentiate them? Okay, because both of them have the same. Both of them has the same what? The same first and last name, assuming, right? Both of them have the same first and last name, okay? And in that sense, that the problem is that most of them has all right, okay, let's not use that scenario. Let's use the election scenario. Good. This one fits more properly, right? This class might be long, all right, to be honest with you guys, because it might not be too so permit me to because I have to cover these things, okay? Please bear with me. Let's try and cover it, okay? Please. So it might not be the normal to us, okay? Please. All right. Yes, the class is on record. I said that, I believe it's on record. I believe. All right. Let's see. So yeah, I believe it's on record. Yeah. Okay, so let's say in the situation where we are having our current election, all right, so the upcoming election, all right, and then you know that you have to get your PVC, and then you have to go and cast your vote, all right, and then chairman of INEC comes up to you and be like, oh, you know that the way our country is, that people are having more than one vote, okay, and I tell you, please help me. Give me a table or a relationship where a user can only vote one time at once, okay? One user to one vote, okay? Give me a table where we have one user to one vote. So now with that, we can now say, okay, to solve that problem, we need what? we need two tables, right? One of the tables, one of that table is what is the user table, and the other table is what is the vote table, right? Now, when you vote, it should come up in this table, right? So that before you even vote, you should be in the user table, right? That before you even vote, you must be here in the user table. So now we have these two tables, and then we want a situation where a user can have only one vote. Okay, where do we place this relationship? Okay, and relationship to fix this or what is the relationship to use in order for user to have one vote? Two, where do we place this relationship? Anybody to try that? Anybody to try that?
That's a one-to-one.
A one-to-one relationship. Okay, so where do we place this relationship? Is it in the user table or in the vote table?
I think we've placed it in the user table.
In the user table, okay?
Because the user is the one voting. So the user is the one interacting with the votes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can place it in any of the tables.
Okay. Right.
I think we'll place it in users table.
Users
also
table.
be if you switch the table the other way around.
Okay.
Voter and user. If user
Okay.
starts first, the vote starts first at the table and user starts at the second. You can use okay.
No, I don't think it can go the other way around. It's most likely going to be.
Additionally, I can also use many to one.
It's going to be vote to user.
Many to one can also work.
Many to one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any user to one. Any user can vote to one particular party.
Okay.
No, that's not. I don't think that's the idea. The
That's out
idea
of
is
context.
Yeah, the idea is that the INEC chairman is saying, I want everyone, irrespective of party, everyone must vote once, and that's it. So
Yeah.
it has to be 1-to-1.
Okay.
A user to a vote.
Okay.
That's for you. That's for you as a programmer. One can also be.
Okay. All right. So okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this with a bottle of beer, right? Okay. So the annex chairman said,
Hello.
one user to one vote. Okay. Okay. Someone has unmuted himself. If you could do us a favor of unmute yourself, let's just explain these things. Okay. Okay. So the annex chairman said, one user should do what? Should participate in one vote. Okay. And one vote should give it to only one user, right? So remember I think in that class, in when we did this relationship, right? I said that the rest of this relationship are vice versa, except many to one. So many to many is vice versa. All right. So you can read it from both ends. Many to many, okay, and one to one. You can read it on both ends. So you can read on both ends. So since you can read on both ends, okay, you can place that relationship on any of those tables. You can place that relationship on any. But if I remember I said that this is programmer's choice. Okay, it's hard. It's how the programmer sees it. That's how you code it, right? So as far as you solve that task, right? So wherever we place it, we at least solve the issue of a user, okay, of a user doing what? Having one-to-one what relationship, okay, all right. So wherever we place it, we work, right? But if I was to place this, right? If I was to place this, I would have placed it on vote. Why? Yes. Someone will want to ask why. Why would you place on vote and not on the user, right? So now the thing is that if I was to use Django, right, to solve this, I don't have access to that user table. All right. Now when we created a Django project, it came alongside with what the user table, right? So I won't bother creating a new user table, right? I won't create a new user table. So invariably, or meaning I don't have access to place the relationship on their user. So the only table the only table, right, that I have a way of reaching or playing around with it is the vote table. So if I was to create this table, I only create the vote table. The user table is already there. So since I don't have access to the user table, I'll place it on the vote table. But if I was to create my own user table, then I'll place it any of this table. It will work perfectly well. Is there a question on that? On how you actually did that? Question. Should we proceed? Should I say it again? Should I go again? So that does it. Okay, let's proceed. But you guys actually understand why I will place it on the vote. I don't have access to the user, right? That if I'm using the user table, the one that comes alongside with a Django. So since I don't have access there, and one-to-one, I said that those other relationships, you can read it in both ways, okay? Except many-to-one. One-to-one, you can read it in both ways because they're the same. One-to-one, one-to-one. Many-to-many, many-to-many. But many-to-one is many-to-one. Cannot be read as one-to-many, many-to-one, okay? So since I don't have access to the original users table, I cannot place that relationship there. So I place it on the vote table, okay? But if I was to create my own user table, and then I will place it on any of those tables, and it will work perfectly well. Okay. All right. So the last relationship. Okay. Before we into coding, before we dive into coding. All right. So, all right. So let's say we have one more. Okay. So far we have. Let me just list them out here for us. Right. So we see. Then we move into the next scenario. Right. So I'll keep bringing up scenarios and we'll see how we can solve them. Right. So we have one-to-one, right? You have 1 to 1, all right? And it could be read as what? Still 1-to-1. It could be read as that. It could be read as that. So you have another one called many to many. And it could be read as same thing, many. That you can invert it, all right? That's what I mean. You can invert it and still call it the same way. It works. All right. So next one we have a foreign key. A foreign key. All right. We have a foreign key, which is what? A many to one. Many to one. Okay. Many, sorry. To one. All right. That's a foreign key. And the foreign key can be read as what? Foreign key. You cannot change it. You read it
cannot be inverted.
Yes, it cannot be inverted. So it's still what? Many to one. All right. So that's it. We can't change that man. That man has refused to be changed. All right. So another scenario. Let's see how this one goes. All right. So an employee walks up to us again. Okay. An employee walks up to us again. Okay. And then says that he has this problem. Right. He owns a shop. Okay. This employee owns a printing shop, a press. How do you call it? Is it press printing or printing press? But he has like a bookshop, right? And he writes book, right? And as well, he has people that write book. Like how to say it? He sells books, right? From what you do is that you write your book and then you take it to him and he sells it for you. Okay. So now in that case, he now comes up to us and now says that he has a problem. Okay, that at times, in order to sell this book, we have to know who owns this book, okay? And at times, this book can be written by what? More than one person. I hope you guys are following. He said that at times, this book can be written by what? More than one person. More than one. That 1, 2, 3, 4 people can write what? One book. And he also said that, and also one person, okay, can write what? Many books. Please, Django developers, solve my problem. And it comes to KodeCamp, Python beginners track. And now meet us and say, please help me solve my problem. A problem where I have a bookstore, like a bookshop, okay, then I want to keep track, or I want to keep record of all these books. When I get it, I sell, or get it, I sell. So I've been selling, but I don't have a record of these books I'm selling or who wrote these books. So please help me and build something, or software, database, anything. Just build something where I can know who wrote a book or who owns a book, right? And he has said that a book can be written by what? More than one person. That he has that he has seen a scenario where one book, more than one person wrote that book. And he also has a scenario where one person has sat down on his own and write 10 books. Please help me and solve this problem. So now, as usual, we do what? We need two tables. Okay. Yes, we need two tables. All right, fine. Let's assume that I didn't say that, but I didn't say that. How many tables do we need to solve that task? 2, what relationship do we need to solve that task? 3, on which table do we need to place this relationship? Is there anyone that wants to attempt that? Anybody? I want to try that.
Can you come
Okay.
again, please?
Okay, I should come again. Okay, please hold on. Let me come again. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me set it again. Okay, so I said that should I say someone? Okay, it could be a male, it could be a female, owns a shop. Okay, and the person sells books. This person sells books. All right, and for the past years, before Django came into existence, he has been selling books. And okay, before KodeCamp started, he has been selling books. And he now realized that there are people in KodeCamp that build something that keeps track of records. And he now landed at KodeCamp, Python beginners track. And I said, please, someone in Python beginners track should build a software or build a database, not software, sorry, a database. Build a database where I can keep records of the books I've sold, okay? But the problem he's having is that not just keeping record of these books, that at times, these books, one book, okay, can be written by more than one person. It means that one book can be written by one person or 2 people or 3 people, right? And also, he has also seen a situation where one person sat on his own and wrote 10 books. Please build me a database that I can keep record of these books, okay, knowing their authors, depending on if an author, okay, wrote more than one book, or if one book has more than one author. So, and I said, in this kind of problem, how many tables do we need to solve this problem? 1. Then 2, if we just, assuming we know the number of tables and we to solve this problem, which relationship among these 3 relationships are we going to use to solve that problem? That's 2. Now 3, on which table, depending on your tables, on which table are you going to place this relationship? Will you place it on both tables, or on one table, or on 3 tables, depending on how many tables you want to use, okay? Which table in particular are you placing this? Okay, so, right, so someone that wants to try to go on and try.
Okay. Okay, so
Any too
I-
many.
all right,
Okay.
let them know come, right? Let them know come. I think he
Okay, sorry.
Right. All right.
Okay, so I'm thinking that
Right.
number 1, we'll need 2 tables.
Right, 2 tables.
That's the author and the book.
All right, we have the author,
Okay, and the book.
and the book. Right?
And the relationship, I think the relationship is just basic, since the way it's been described, the many authors can write a book,
Okay.
and a book can be written by many authors.
Okay.
And at the same time, I think it's logical to assume that many authors can write many books too. Then I think that's
Okay.
just basic. So I think personally it will be many to many.
Okay. Personally,
So-
he thinks many to many.
Yeah. So
Okay.
where to place? I'm laughing because for this task and this particular idea, this relationship gave so many challenges. So where to place it? I personally will place it on the author. I think that's for me. I think when it comes to many and one-to-one, I personally think you can place it on any table since both are interaction with each other and it's not many-to-one. If it's one-to-one personally, so, but me, by preference, I will put it on the author because I always like the person doing the action to be the one relating with the thing.
Okay.
Just like in the case of the voter too, Sha. But I understood your explanation there. So that's just my take.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. The female. I want to try. Let's hear you. All right. Have we lost her?
I'm still here.
All right. Go on. I thought to try. Go on. Let's hear you.
I only have the first two answers because I did not get the last question.
All right. So let's say your first two answers.
The first one, the first question, how many tables? And I said two tables.
2 tables.
Yes.
Which are what are not exactly?
The author and book.
Okay, author and book. Okay.
And the relationship. Okay.
All right. Go on.
The relationship between many to many.
Many to many.
I'm going to go with many to many. Yes.
So, all right. Is there any other person? So, according to where to place the
okay. Let me come in.
Come in, sir.
Okay. Based on my own understanding, and also this, despite the fact we are not including the fields that have to come in these tables.
Yes.
We're just saying nothing about the field because field can as well mean many things for a particular table. Okay. You understand? And this customer is saying that he wants to keep a record of both sales. You understand? He wants to know how his book is being sold as well. Okay. You understand? You know how his book, like the inventory of the book and everything. Okay. Now, first of all, for me, I will make it. I will create a book table. Where we have the name of the author, the name of the books, and so on. Then secondly, we have
secondly,
I also have like auto table.
Okay.
Then I also have something like sales.
Okay. So that's 3 tables. Okay.
The book table and the auto table and sales for keeping the sales of
Mommy, baby.
relationship. We use many to many.
Okay.
They've set class. Wait, let me finish.
Ebony, please mute yourself.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. I'll use for the record keeping, to know for the record keeping, I'll use
okay, go on.
Because we are not putting fields on this thing, it's kind of confusing.
Okay, go ahead and put your fields. Okay. If the field makes you feel okay, right? Okay, please.
Okay. For sales, for the books, we have a book ID. You understand?
Okay.
Like we have like an ID, to identify each book. You understand? We are using each book each ID to identify each book. Then we have author. Under author, we have under author we have no. On book name. We have book name.
Okay.
Let me just
Okay, you have book,
like
you have book name. Okay.
book name. The name of the book.
Okay.
And
Okay.
for you can remove the author there, author in that book. You can remove the author there. Just
Okay.
use because author has its own table as well. So under the author, we have the author, we have the ID,
Okay.
maybe the ID.
Okay.
Then we have the author name,
Okay.
Then under the like that place where we have book. That book ID can be like the product batch number. You know that they
Okay.
normally scan on the computer when you want to buy something, you just scan it, the price and everything comes out. So that book ID can be like just the product ID, that is just the sales ID for that book. So it can be used that machine to identify the name of the book and everything. Then for the sales, we have the book ID. The book ID
Okay.
for the sales, the book ID that is being sold. A particular, this things for the fact that we don't normally in times of sales, when you want to go and buy something in more, don't normally have the numbers of the names of the buyers, since this is not a library, it's a store.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just say we can use ATM card to maybe number or something like that comes with the product. And also, so then in terms of the relationship, this is just my own point of view. Any other person can.
Okay. Let's hear you.
In terms of the relationship, sorry, the call entered. I will now say the man said I want to know who how his book is being sold, right?
Okay, yes.
The program that we record his sales for the book he has on. So now I will now link the book to the author to be able to know the author of each book name, names of author of each book name.
Okay.
Then I will have I use many-to-many relationship. Then for the cell, for the cell, what am I going to do now? For the cell now say, okay, in my own point of view, my own point of view, can we actually link 3 tables together? I think we can. Abi?
Yes, you can play around with them. You can play around, but the linking 2 at a time. You're linking two at a time. But one table can contain all this, right? Can contain more than one relationship, right? One table can contain more than one relationship. But at one point, it is 1 to like 2 at a time. At one point, I don't know if I've been able to explain that. But a table can have more than one relationship, okay? But at each term of that relationship, that is only referring, it's only linking 2 tables at a time. That is itself and another table. Okay.
Like if you are drawing the flow chart, like depending on the structure of the table now.
Yes.
Right. Depending on the structure of the table, if this is many-to-many can link itself to another table, becoming many-to-one or becoming many-to-many as well. Right.
Okay. If I understood what you mean, like we mean like let's say we have a book, okay, let's say a book to author here, right? That has a many to many relationship, okay? That means that it is the book, right? That's well, either way, since the many to many can be called from both sides, okay? So either way, it is, and also either of this table, okay, can link to, let me say, the self table, right? Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, for now, the set table can stand alone. Let me not confuse.
Okay,
The set table can stand alone.
all right. So the self table will be on its own, all right? So this one will be alone. All right, so this one will be a lone wolf, right? Is there any other person that has something different to this, or should I go ahead and explain this myself? Actually,
yes, it was just what I meant was. Okay, I want to say we're just going to create two people. One is the author, and one is the buyer, and we're just going to make it many to many because more than one book can be bought, and more than one author can write one book.
Okay.
So that's for me. Thank you.
All right. So we have a buyer and a book. Yeah, that's it. All right. And then we have a relationship of many to many. All right. Is there someone that has something different with that? I think I'm the one that is making the thing this complicated. I think the cell that I brought in makes the stuff really looks more complicated. Right? Is there anyone that has something different to any of these suggestions? We have about 1, 2, 3, 4 suggestions. Right, should I go ahead and explain, or any other contribution? All right. So okay, so let's explain for all of us. Right? Let's explain for all of us. And everything you said here was correct. Remember, I said that relationship is dependent on the programmer. So I'll tell you in my own case how I would do it. All right. I'll tell you in my own case how I would do it. Okay. So, all right. So instead of Basi's case, the rest of Basi would actually want to tackle this problem. Okay. First of all, because at times the how you code, and then you come back and recode. Okay. So for the starting, okay, I'll start with 2 tables, right? I'll start with 2 tables for the starting, right? And this table would be the book table, as well as the author table. Okay, let's start with that first. And the relationship that I will have here would be a many to many, because one author can write many books. Okay, one author can write many books, and one book can be written by many authors, right? So it's 2 to 2, right? 2 to 2. I mean, many to many. Sorry. All right. So what was the last one? Placed. Where will I place it? All right. Where will I place this relationship on these tables? All right. For the first one, since both of them can be read from any side, I will place it in any of those tables. But if I was to act, there are buyer here. If I was okay, this is mine. Sorry, that other person. She not give us place. She does not give us place. So place was blank for him. Right. So, but in my case, I would place it on. Okay, placing it on any of those table works, right? Because many to many can read has on both sides. Either from the table or from the author, it can be read on both sides, right? So placing it on any of this table works perfectly well. But if I was to place this, I would have placed this on the author table. Reasons being that I just like the I just like the author. I don't have any specific reason for that, but of course it works on both sides. Remember the other one, the reason was that I did not have access to the user's table, so I cannot place it there. But this one I have access to both of them. Okay. Yeah, question.
I don't understand the whole place thing.
Right, like the place stuff is where will you place this relationship? The many to many, is it on the book table or on the author table? Okay, so that's what that place means. All right. So in this case, I will place it on any of the table. Okay. on any of those table works. Right?
So let me ask a question. So let me ask a question. Since in this second case, in the foreign key case now,
okay.
No, this is not the foreign key case. This
Yes,
is a many to many.
Yes. Yes.
In this many to many, you have access to both tables.
Yes.
Why don't you have access to the users table in the
many to many? Okay, I said that
in the one-to-one. In the one-to-one.
Oh, okay, sorry, in the one-to-one. Okay, was it one-to-one? I said okay. All right. But okay, let's check. Was it one-to-one? Okay. Oh yeah, one-to-one, I guess. One-to-one. All right. So
one-to-one, you say you don't have access to the users table.
All right. So okay, what I said was that if I'm to use the table that came alongside with that comes alongside with Django, okay, when we install it, okay. Now you notice that table it's not there in our product. Like we can't find it in anywhere in our product, but that table is there, all right. So since I don't have access to that table, I cannot go and add a field and place a relationship. Now remember that this relationship have been placed on a field, right? On a field or a column, same thing here, right? So now since I don't have access to that table, like I can't go and add my own field to that table, okay? So so that means I don't have access to it. So the only thing I have access to now is the profile table, okay? So and since both of them works, right? Since both of them works, right? One-to-one, so it works perfectly well. But if I was to create my own table, like my own user table, okay, hey, then I don't have access to two tables now, the profile and the user. So I can now go ahead and do what? Place it on any table, either the profile or the user table, okay? So that was the reason why I choose the profile, not the user in that other one, depending on the scenario. If I'm creating a new user table or I'm using the Django user table, any of that one, okay? So I'll either place on user or not place on user, depending on which table I'm using, okay? So in this case of many to many,
sorry.
Okay, I'll go on. Question.
Yes. Concerning the foreign key, can a foreign key be used to link three tables to one table?
Three tables to one table.
Yes, like let's say if we have book.
Okay. If you have what? Sorry.
Book, author, sales, and then publish book, author, sales, and then we now gonna have profile. Can we link these three things to the profile using a foreign key?
Let's we have publish.
Yes.
What again?
Author.
We say book, author, and sales.
Book, author.
Yes.
Okay.
And sales.
And sales. Okay.
No, remove publish.
No. I think he's bringing a scenario where we have like four tables. So it's asking if you can link it to one table called profile, right? Using many to one. Okay. All right.
No,
so
using foreign.
Okay, using foreign key.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So first of all, you have to understand what this table, okay, each of this table, what it should do, okay. That's this thing is depending on task at hand, okay. It's depending on task at hand, okay. It's depending on task at hand, all right. So a profile table, okay, by default should hold a user's profile, right, and that profile should both be one to one particular user, right. So linking using many to many already we've killed it now. We've killed what the profile should do. Okay, we've killed what a profile should do. So in my case, I don't should I say publish being a table on its own doesn't really, to me, doesn't look good. Okay, at least the publish should come either inside under books has a field. Okay, like when was this book published? But I said that it can be a table on its own. Okay, it can be a table on its own. All right. So what will happen here if you are taking all these tables? All right, if you are taking all these.
This is like the people that do the production of the books. Actually, they are not the sales people. They Just do the
Okay.
production.
Okay. Are they published?
Yes.
No, that can still come under the book, because the book
comes with
has
the book.
has a publisher.
Yes, it
The
can be
name
a
of the publisher and the country where the publisher is publishing from. So
It
that
can be a field in a book. It can be a field in a book.
It will be a field under book.
Okay, so now I'm saying that this probably should have been a fear, but let it just be there for now. Let's see. Not at times these things are always dependent on the problem, right? So now, if I was to, okay, let's say for the author, what I would have done here would have been come to this author and then place what a many to where. So remember, I said that at each time this relationship is only pointing like at each time, okay, at each time of relationship, it is one table to another table, okay, it's one table at each time, right? So now the author, I'm gonna place a minute to book, right? Let's split this into separate lines. Let's split this into separate lines. So let's see. We have published, we have author, we have sales, and we have profile, right? How would I link all these things? All right. So now an author must have a profile, right? So in that case, what will I do here? I will do a one-to-one to what? I'll do a one-to-one. I'm writing at to one to where to author. To author, yeah. Since one-to-one works on both fields, so I can put it. I can still place it here on the author table or place it on the profile. It still works. So now from author, like from this profile, okay, I can grab an author. All right. Then since profile is linked to since profile is linked to author, and author is linked to book. So from the author, I can get a book. Let's see how translation is going. So let's see again what we can do here again. And from profile, I can get an author. From author, I can get a book. I think is this published? And probably we could say, can a book be published more than once?
No.
A book gets
It can have
once.
different edition. It can have different edition.
Okay, it can have different edition, but it is one book, like one book having different edition, right?
Yes.
Okay, a book can actually be published more than one, because when it's off market, they can now do another production and publish it.
It's still the same book. It's still the same book, but when you change the edition, say edition 1, edition 2, edition 3, and all, so changes are made to the book. It's no longer the same at that point.
So that means in plain English, I can say that should I say multiple edition of one book, like in plain English, right? Multiple edition of one book, or should I say more than? I think multiple edition of one book sounds better. Okay, so that's more like a many to one.
Or maybe
right?
book variations.
Or books variation. How should I put that in?
I mean, different variations of books.
If it's book variation, then it's not one book. It's several books, different kind of books.
No, I think it depends on how. Okay. Anyway.
This English is
excuse me, sir.
Okay, ma.
Sir, please, this one you are doing now, this particular models you are using to explain now, is it the answer to your question you're explaining?
No, I've finished.
So this is a different thing.
See my answer here.
Out.
Yes, we know that you were talking to your daughter, or your daughter was talking to you. So you were carried away. So we are hearing you here.
All right, I finished that. Okay, I think I now finished. Yeah, I finished it. Okay, I think what was meant here is sales, but I will spend that down here. But I finished it. I said that in my own case, at times we code and then you come back and we record. So I said let me start with 2 tables first. Then if I see the to add the second the third table, then I'll add it. So for now, I use book and author, and I use a minute-to-minute relationship. And placing, I can place it anywhere. So it anywhere works. Anywhere. Like any of those table, any table. Let's use any table, not anywhere. Any table, right? So that one works. So this one is a different thing, okay? So we have about 1, 2, 3, 5 tables here. I want to find a way of linking all these tables, okay? I want to find a way of linking all of them, okay? So so far we've linked like 3. We've linked author, book, and profile, okay? We've linked author, book, and profile, right? So so I was saying about the edition of a book. I was so she said that she doesn't have a daughter, right? Okay, it's okay. So what is left now is the publish, all right? So I said that like a book can be published more than once, according to you guys. I'm not into book writing, so I don't really know how this thing works. But you guys said that a book can be published, or a book can have multiple editions, okay? Like one book, let's say general chemistry textbook, right? We have general chemistry textbook of edition 1, edition 2, edition 3, but it's still general chemistry, okay? It's the same book but multiple edition, okay? So now in this case, how do we link that? That's more like a many-to-one relationship. So now we have to link this book to publish, and since it's a many-to-one, right? We place that relationship where in here. We now come and answer that I want to place a foreign key, a many-to-one, a foreign key. Foreign, am I spelling foreign wrongly? Foreign key. We what? We book. So now I've linked author to profile, and I've linked profile to author, and from author to book, and from book I can get how many times it has been published, right? So now the sales is on its own so far. Sales has not been linked anywhere yet. So now
can you not link sales to book?
Yes, sales will be linked to book, right? Sales will be linked to book. So sales will be linked to book in a case that what relationship do you guys think I should use? The many-to-many, one-to-one, or foreign key? What the appropriate relationship to use there? Because I want to link that sales to book. Because
sales is many, but in the context of what we are doing now, we are doing multiple books, right?
Yes, we are selling. We are selling books here, okay? Not actually the author or the profile, but we are selling books.
So
okay?
it's going to be many to many.
Many to many.
When somebody buys a book, he can see the author aspect, the author fields. Can access the author aspect of the book.
Yes. Yes.
For us to link first, for my own objective.
Oh, okay, to link the author first with the sales.
Like through the someone can access the author.
Yes, through the book, through the book, someone can access.
So there is no need of us linking sales to book again, because when you put the book name from that book table, you can see the particular author of that book someone bought.
Yeah, yes. This sales is a table on its own. This sales is only keeping track of which books have we sell. Okay, what are the like this sales doesn't have any business with any of these tables, just on its own, a standalone table, okay? But since we're actually selling something, we are selling book, all right? So we have to find a way and get the name of that book now, okay? And also for the name of that book, we can get the author of that book, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what I can do is I can say this is more like should I say it's many to many. Okay, no. Many to many. Many to many. Well, in this case, I would say that that is more like a many to one. The relationship being on the book itself. If I let's see if I'm getting that right. Okay, let's try and see how we can interpret this in plain English, right? So someone can sell one book or more than one book, right, at the time. So I think we have many to many. Yeah, yes, many to many. Someone can sell one book.
Like now, from my own perspective, what I think we can obtain from sales now is when we are trying to think about the inventory. We are not putting fields that are very, very, very important. The fields we use in all these tables, is a very important. Now,
Yes.
if we are stocking a book, we have to have the quantity of the books we are stocking in the store. You understand? Now, the reason why we have a sale is to actually know the number of books that is being sold. So what you can have in sale, what you can actually do in that sale is just to minus quantity from the number of books sold. You understand? Minus the number of books in the store from the sales. As we are selling the books, it's updating each number of quantity in the store.
Yeah.
That's why I think we can. There is no need for linking from you if you ask me. So from that particular sales, now you can now access the books that was sold and the author. Then you can now pay your stock and know if you know the books that are selling more than other ones, and do the other arithmetic and know the ones to buy more. So that's my own opinion.
Let me even ask, is it possible to have all of this relationship on one program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's possible to have all of it on one program. Okay, so the sales, right?
I think we need to link the sales to the book.
Yeah,
reason being that just like you go into a book, what do they sell there? It's book.
It's book. Yeah.
So there should be a form of ways you keep your record.
All right. So let's see what the possible fields, right? So the possible fields we are going to see in these cells are the idea of these cells. And then what are you selling? Book, probably, let's say that, right? Book itself. You're selling book, right? Because that's what you're selling. And then we sell like quantity, right? Quantity, should I say quantity? This quantity, you can get it. Don't worry, let us say quantity. Let's just put quantity for now. Am I spelling quantity wrong? Quantity. Right, so let's just stick with that. I think let's just stick with that, right? So now, if I want to interpret these cells, right, it means that more than one book can be sold, right? More than one book can be sold. Sorry, can be sold. More than one book. That's one or more than one book can be sold, right? So in my case, like, to be honest with you, if I'm not linking this, I will use a many-to-many relationship with book itself, okay? Because let's take this quantity out of the picture for now. Let's just stick with the aspect of selling, right? We are hardly selling. So what are we selling is book, okay? It's book. So now the quantity of this book, we can get it because since it's many-to-many, okay? We can since it's many-to-many, meaning that we can have one book being sold or multiple books being sold, right? So that means you can count from there. You can now get the quantity. So the quantity does not necessarily need to be a field, or it could be a field, and then we leave it to be null. Okay, then in the process of that selling, we count it and then we add it like automatically. I don't know if you can understand what I'm trying to explain. Okay, but at the beginning part of this, I don't think that quantity is that important, right? So what is really important here is what are we selling? Is book. So it's book that we're selling. So in this case, it should be like a many-to-many, right? A many-to-many in the sense that one book can be sold once, or that particular book can be sold multiple times, right? Like, okay, that what I mean. Because someone can come now and buy general chemistry, and then another person come again and still buy that same general chemistry. Okay, so that's more like a many-to-many. And since one book can be bought more than once, okay, or one book can be sold more than once, all right? So many-to-many fit that properly, and with that, you can say that with this one now stands on its own. It's just after the book, okay? And so now from these cells, okay, I can get a book, okay? I can get a book, and this book from the book now I can get an author. Okay, and also from this book, I can get when it was published or how many times, all right? And then from this author, I can get that author profile. Now you could say that we've been able to find a way of playing around with all those tables. Okay, from one table, we can get to another table, from another we can get to another table. Okay, it's not table. Okay, just link it as it should be in normal sense. Okay, link it as it should be in normal sense, right? And then we can access it when we need it. Okay, like when we actually need this assessment, right? So we can actually access that, right? So what I have done here, if I was to add cells here, so cells would have been on its own. So this would have been the same thing that I have done here. If I was to add a third table here, it would have been cells. So I've been cells. That's if I was to add a third table, and I will have used many to many on both on many to many for book and author, and as well books and cells. Okay, let's say book and author. Book and author. Author. It seems I'm spelling this. It seems at times I'm spelling this author correctly. At the same time, I'm spelling it wrongly.
Yeah, he said it's T-H-O-R.
Oh, it's T-H-O-R. I said it.
Yes.
I said.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So. All right, so and here we have been around the many with book and author. Sorry, book and sales, right? Book and sales. Sales, okay. All right, so that's what I would have done, and I will have placed it on any of them since both of them are actually readable from on both sides. All right, so. Any question with relationship, the rest are actually going to be coding. Okay, so the rest will be coding because this was the main thing. Actually, the task we did, I saw a lot of corrections. Okay, a lot of corrections. I made a lot of corrections. So I don't know if this, apart from someone that just said that she's still confused in the chat. Apart from her, is there any other person that still has problem with this, with relationship? So the rest will be coding, right? So we just code and then we see how this thing works. Sorry, the class is long. A bit, almost 2 hours. So we spent 2 hours. Okay, I think 1.5 hours. Sorry, we started late. Any question on modern relationship? Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I have a question. This whole explanation has just done only one thing to me. It has formatted my brain.
Okay.
Yeah. Seriously. Okay. I just want to ask one question, and that question is going to solve my problem.
Okay. Please, let's follow, please. Right, go ahead. Bring the question up.
What? So I want to ask, this question is, what does this whole relationship of a thing do to a database?
To a database, okay. So now, what it does to a database is, one, it makes your database neat. I don't want to explain how it does that. Two, it saves us a lot of stress. So let's assume, right, that we needed what? That we needed let's go back to this our table. Right. So look at these 2 tables. Right. We have a user table and a profile table. Someone talking behind. So, and we have 2 tables here, the user table and a profile table. Okay. So now let's assume, okay, let's look at this user table. We have the username, the table. All right. Okay. So let's look at this users table. We have the username, the email, first and last name, right? And then we have another table called what? A profile table that has the bio of that user and the picture. And then we have this profile must belong to what? A particular user. So that if we were to create a table for profile, what would have done would have been an ID, a picture, a bio, and then the username of this user, probably that user email field, also that user ID and user last name. That would have been total of about 7 columns. Okay, total of about 7 columns. But then Django has answered that it's instead of that we can relate with an existing table. Okay, so now since this profile must belong to a particular user. Okay, so there's no point of us coming here to put the username, user email, and first name and last name. Okay, those data exist and they exist
already
already
in the user table.
Okay, so now what we do is we now assign it to what a particular user. So that process of assigning now is called relationship. So now it's depending on how you're assigning it to that user defines the type of relationship. So at this point, and I say, okay, fine, that this profile of picture 1 and I love tech, I want to assign it to what? To user 2. Okay. And that process now, I've not done one, I've now created a relationship, okay, of assigning what this particular profile to what a user here called 2. So because of that, so since I've now assigned that, I don't need to come here and now put username here again, somewhere here, and then like username and email. So now from these two now, okay, I can now get what this username is, this user email, and first and what last name. All right, from so this like, and so I said this just like you bundling this table, this user table, you're bundling it and putting it in one column called user column inside where the profile table. Because from these two, right, from these two, if I want to reference where this two is in the user table, okay, is here. So since I can reference it, it also means that I can get the username and the email and last and first name of that ID too of that user. So with that, it has made the database neat. So imagine having like 5 columns here for users, and then coming down here to have 7 columns again just for profile, and then repeating what we have in the user table in the profile table as well. Okay. So now it has saved you time, make the database neat, and make life easier for us. Okay, because imagine us filling out 7 fields. Okay, when I can just use one field to capture like 5 fields. Okay, so that what is happening here.
Okay, sir. That means this relationship helps us like to pick several selected fields and combine it to a certain table.
It's exactly if there was a way that we have, if there was a way we have come out for ourselves.
If we were writing SQL, like actual SQL,
okay,
we would maybe use keywords like join.
Okay.
To pick certain fields and join them to a particular table. We can actually make a whole table from picking out fields from several other tables. So in case of Django, we are using the relationship to solve that issue, right?
Yes, to solve that. Yes, to solve that issue.
Okay,
so
sir.
That was happening. Please tell me that I've solved your problem, please.
Okay, sir. My problem is solved.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, her problem is solved. Is there any other person that has to have difficulty?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to understand something better because to the extent that I've watched in our training, when you are linking two different models or tables together, you link everything. So let's say you are linking profile to users table normally.
Okay.
You say one of the rows there is equal to models.foreign key open bracket. You now say users table.
Okay.
Right? So yes. So what do we now do to ensure that we link it to a direct row there and not the whole table?
Okay. So the way Django works is that if you are using a relationship, you're actually copying that entire table. It is now when you want to use a particular field or column from that table, you can now use it, right? But for the time being, or at that point where you link, that entire table is embedded within that table. Okay. So you just pick the field that you want whenever you want it. Okay. So Django sent me that sort of coming back to if assuming that you need to pick. And then later on, you now realize that later on you now come back and add like a new field in this table. Let's say in the exact table, you now come back and add like gender. Okay, there's somewhere in your code you want to bring out a profile and then get the gender of that person from the profile table. Now you have to go back and do what and join that table now. But thanks to Django, you copy the entire table. Okay, so when you add a new table, you just copy it also. So now what you don't do is you now come now and now specify which particular field you want. Okay, so but at this point in time, at this point where you do this, the entire table is there. So even if in the future, so even if in the future you come back and add a new column or a new field in this table, you can still have that field without going back to probably re-edit your code or join a new role, or sorry, a new column or a new field. I don't know if I'm able to
so let me ask another question. If for example I link the profile table to the users table and I still have another third table to link, would that still now be one-to-one?
Yes. Like now you can if you notice now, let's say that we have a table, because a table can have more than one relationship. Hope you know that. So let's say that we have let's go down here. Let's go down here. Let's say that we have a table called the cat table, right? The cat table. This cat, not the one with that arm. Okay. So now you know that this cat belongs to what? A user, a particular user, right? This cat also contains products, right? So now somewhere this cat has, because now remember a user can have one cat. Sorry, is it one? No, a user can have multiple cats. I mean, one cat. No, one cat, I think.
Yeah.
A user can have one cat. It's one.
That's a shopping cat now, right?
Yes, a shopping cat or multiple cats, right?
You can use two hands to carry two cats.
Okay. Let's
The
say.
user can have one
still a
cat
cat.
in many
That is not a
products.
basket, too.
All right. So, let's see like this, right? I mean, an e-commerce cart, like when you go to Jumia and then you add something to your
You
cart.
have one cat
Okay,
and many products.
one cat.
Okay,
One
that
cat.
cat, yes, that's the cat I mean, right? So now at this point, that cat has what? Has a one-to-one to this user, right?
Yes.
Then inside that cat, you have what? Multiple
Several
products, right?
products.
So that at the same time, we have many to what? Many here also to this product, right? Now that cat has a many to products. Now you can see on one table, and I have what? Two relationships. I think I've lost the question.
Okay.
I've lost the question that there's a question that I was trying to solve with this. I've lost that question. I'll skip my head. Sorry, the last question was what? Sorry, please.
Yeah, what I said was if I have a particular profile and then I link it to the user.
Okay.
If I link it to another table, that is linking table 1 to 2 and then to 3.
Okay.
Would you still call it one-to-one?
Yeah. So now, okay. Yeah, yes. That was the question. Okay. So now, is depending on what you are linking. Okay, it's depending on what you are linking, like or how you want to link it. Okay, but if you can look at if for it with this example, okay, we have two kinds of relationship in one table. Okay, we have two kinds of relationship in one table. It means that in this cat table, okay, let me start the fields here. In this cat table, we can have what? We can have the ID of this cat. Okay. We can have the ID of this cat, and we can have what? A user that owns this cat, right? And also we can have a product that is inside this cat. Okay, so that means what this means that in all the cats, you always have one user here, like one user to that cat, but many to many. So at this point, we have a user table here, okay, and we also have what? A product table here. Now the difference between those two tables that this now that's two tables in one table, right? Two tables embedded in one table. So now at the end of the day, when we want to insert one record to this cat table, okay, we have something like this: ID of 1, okay, user of 1, okay, and then plus we can have like milk. Sorry, we can have like milk, Milo. I think let's put this in a square bracket. Let's make it like a list. Milk, Milo, let's say sugar, right? Let's say sugar.
Indomie.
Okay, Indomie, right? All right, so now it starts like a one record to of that shopping table, of that shopping cart. Okay, that shopping cart table. That's one record. Then you can have another record. Okay, but then what do we have? We have a ID, separate ID of 2. Because this ID cannot be the same, and this user 2 cannot be the same. Why? Because we made it clear that this thing must be what? A one-to-one relationship. So yeah, that can be cart 2, and then they have the same product. I don't know if I've answered that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is how that thing works. Okay.
Then sorry.
Okay.
In this shopping cart, user and what's the last one?
Product.
Imagine you now want to add an address table. Should the address be linked to the user? And then how would you link the address to the user?
Okay, how do I link the address to the user? So that address. Okay, now a user should have working address with the address. Is it one-to-one, many-to-one, or many-to-many?
So which address now? Is it like the user's address or the shopping mall address?
Like the billing address, something like that, I think. Is it the user? Okay, the user address.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So now, in that case, we don't have to put the address here, because somewhere in our code, okay, we can now link a user to an address table. Okay. So now, since we have linked a user to an address table, we can get that address from where? From this user table. I don't even answer that question. So that somewhere in your code, you can have another table called. You can have another table somewhere in your code, like an address table.
Use something like user registration, which comes with address, right?
Okay, yeah, it depends if the site, okay, actually asks for your address, because there are sites that you have to register and then go into your profile and then fill all those things. So at times those tables are on their own. Okay, it's not they're not there on the user registration table. They are like a separate table on their own. Okay, so you can be like a separate table, like an address to a user table. Okay, an address to a user table, and then here I can now say that, okay, that I want to do a relationship. Okay, relationship. And where do I place this relationship? Is it on the address or on the user? Okay, now it depends if I have the access to this user table or I'm creating my own user table. So I'll assume, okay, I'll assume that I don't have any access to that user table. Okay, so I will stick with the address here. All right, so I'll stick with that. So the relationship that I will have here would be like a one-to-one. Sorry, a one-to-one. Right, that's 0 and 0. A one-to-one. Okay. So now from here, now I can so inside this shopping cart now, I don't have to ask the user for your I don't have to ask the user for his address again. Okay. As far as I have this user ID or this user name, I can now go to the database and do what? Fetch that user address. Okay, so that's how you would do it there. Okay, that's why if you go to a bank, okay, I think bank and PV, like if you go to bank, is it bank, PVC and all those things, right? To sign up like for a new account. Let's say you're going to a bank, right, to sign up for a new account, right? You go there with what? With your NIN, right? It's like a compulsory something to come with your NIN. Then after that, they'll create an account for you, and then you know what? You go. Okay. It was then that when you go to bank, you go with your NIN. They'll get your NIN and do what? Capture your biometric. Okay. Same thing happens again if you go to get jam to register for jam. They'll get your NIN and do what and still capture your biometric, right? But nowadays, or probably let's say you're going to get your PVC, right? You go there with your NIN and see what, and they'll still capture what your biometric. But these days they don't do that, okay? They don't do that. Now, why don't they do that? That's because with your NIN, I can get everything about you, because when you sign up for your NIN, they'll capture what they capture your biometrics. All right. So now no individual can have the same NIN, okay? No individual can have the same NIN. So now if you go to bank to create an account, there's no need of the bank getting your biometrics, because with your NIN you can get your details, okay? Now same thing, take that same NIN to get PVC, no need of biometrics again, because from that NIN they can know what gets your details. Same thing with the shopping cart, no need to ask you for your address again, because from this user I can know what get your address from your user, from this user here, okay? From this user, either the user ID or the username, I can guess what that user's address here, okay? I don't know if I've answered that question properly. Did I confuse you guys in the process of answering that?
No.
Okay, so I believe everywhere is good.
Sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes, question. I'm listening.
Sir, in all these things we have been doing since we started ORM and databases, the only thing we've been doing is to create data. We've not like had to read, update, and delete like with actual code, apart from the console.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what we were to do in our last class. But we did the create. We did in our last class. Like on,
so the one on
Wednesday, yes.
No, sir, I wasn't.
Okay. See, that was the topic of our last class. Create, update, delete, edit. Okay, we were doing it, but because of time, we could not finish it. We could not finish it. Okay, so that was, but we will do that. We will do that, I think on Monday.
So you said this is the last class.
No, I said this is the last class on this topic. Was it on this topic?
Okay.
Wait the topics of these topics. So
okay, sir.
All right. So any more question with the relationship thing? So we say
don't enter well. Don't enter.
You don't enter well. Okay. All right. So the rest are going to be coding, and let's see how you can accomplish that here. Let's say in a few minutes time. All right, in a few minutes time. Let's see how we can achieve that. All right. So I said that we do very basic, okay, basic programming, very basic programming, and we don't have to go to all those blogs again. So I'll just start. So what I'll do is I'll start a new project. So no need of me installing Django. I think I have Django pre-installed on my device. Don't know how I did that by mistake. Normally I don't install Django directly to my machine, but I did that once by mistake. And I said that I will uninstall it, but I have not yet on the serial Django. And if you can see, my environment is not active. So I should only get this Django when my environment is activated. But I mistakenly install it directly to my machine. So when I'm free, I'll go ahead and uninstall it. Okay, so let's see how we can proceed to the next phase. Please tell them to come back now. We were about 20 of us. 4 of us have gone off the call. What are you going to
do? So let me ask you.
Okay, sir.
Because I think from the word go, I understood this one-to-one and many-to-one concept.
Okay.
But it seemed to me that there's something I lost between when we created the apps and read them up in the in the HTML files, web files.
Okay.
Before this one-to-one, I think there's something I lost, because I remember at a point we're supposed to go to a certain blog and copy, download some stuff.
A template. All right.
I did it all that part till we got to one-to-one, many to. I don't know what we did there.
Okay, I think those videos are on YouTube. I believe they're on YouTube. I believe all of them have been uploaded. I believe. Okay. I believe. Okay, so just check on YouTube. You'll find. I think what we did was the setting up of those that block template, which actually led to a lot of confusion. And so I said that we will leave that block template for now, right? For this class, okay, for this class. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because that's why I've not been able to do my task. So I don't know, the code that you are going into now, will it help me in sorting out my task?
Oh my God.
The code I'm going into now, it's actually for user registration, because I would recommend, okay, that you watch that video on YouTube, because what we did, I think, in previous classes was user registration, login system, and logout system, and we did it using Django ways, like how, like the default Django method, okay, and it was as if we are letting Django to help us, like we don't understand the logic that what's happening behind that scene, okay. So that was actually problem. So I said that in this particular class, okay, that we will actually write it out one by one, okay, and see what's happening behind that scene. Right. So far we've been depending on Django to do these things for us, okay. So we just do these things by ourselves one by one.
Bro, just take out time and go and watch the YouTube, because even till now, I'm still watching YouTube sessions of our past classes, and with that, you understand better. You will catch up.
So I would recommend to check that videos. Okay, I think those are there. All right. All right. So let's.
Please. Sorry, sir. Talking about the videos, I just want to remind that I don't think the video for the last 2 classes has been posted on YouTube. So I think that's lesson 20.
It has been posted already.
Okay. Then I'll check later.
Okay. And I'm also I'm also aware that most people are not yet promoted. Believe me, I am 100% aware of that. Please and please bear with us. I will always say please and please bear with us.
My moral.
I know I promised to post that morale, but my hands are tied. Okay, my hands are tied at this point in time. Okay, but I assure you that that KodeCamp will not let your morale to die. Okay, it must be posted. Okay, it must be posted. It must be posted, right? So let's just start a simple project. Okay, very simple project, right? I won't take time to just the basic setup. I will know how this thing works, right? You know how this people are going now, having 15. So 16 before, now it's 15. From 20 to 15, 5 people have gone on left. What the back, please. All right, so
maybe it's network.
Okay. Let's see the network, please. All right. So yes, ma.
So please, I noticed something on our videos on YouTube.
Okay.
We've lost the actual order of the sessions, because when I searched for session 20, I was seeing 19 in place of 20. Like the order is now unordered.
I think that has also been corrected.
Okay.
There's a particular video, I think 21, that doesn't have session number.
Exactly. That's just it.
Honestly, I think that should be that. We are all humans. So I feel it's because before this thing is put together, I think someone does the of that session stuff. So I feel it could be typo error or something like that. So I don't know. But I believe it's human mistake. All right, please bear with us. Bear with us. I will keep saying bear with us, please. Right? But just try. I don't know if I can actually sit down and give us a compiled list of what we've done from beginning to up to now. But I really thank those of us, okay, that are still with us. Okay, like to be honest with you, I appreciate it. Okay, so we've gone close to 3 months now, I believe. So we have like a month left, and we've been here.
Sir.
We are learning. Yes, ma.
No.
Oh,
So
yes,
there's something I
sir.
wanted to say. We saw a message in the group that its scores have now been increased to 84.
No, not 84. It's
85.
85. Okay, sorry, 85. Yes. So we hope that because of some of the mistake we made in the relationship, it won't affect our score that much. I mean, some
Okay, okay. If that information was there after that tax, okay, then it's not affected. It's not affected. Okay, it won't be affected that much.
That one is for the final project for stage 8.
Okay, for stage 8, right?
That's for stage 8, not for.
Okay. So it's not for us. Okay, so I think we have like the remaining months. I think the remaining months is for you guys to do for the. I don't really get it, but I'll find out. Okay, but we are actually running out of time. To be honest with you guys, right? We've. I wish that this quiz class I did it like twice again. Okay, then probably they would have get up to speed. Okay,
Sir, please, I want to say something before we go, because I know we are running out of time. Just remember, there is this particular thing I want us to treat, okay, especially how to import a model to a new file.
Okay,
that's what I've been waiting for since morning, actually.
Oh, okay. I will show that to you. I'll show that to you real quick.
All right.
All right. So let's see how we now let's see how we handle what Django has been handling for us behind the scenes. Let's see how we can do that ourselves. Okay. Believe me, it's comfortable. It's comforting doing it yourself. To be honest with you, me, I don't that Django thing. Me and the like one. I like to myself so that I know what I'm doing. So all those overriding squatters, you might actually forget to override a particular thing because since it's programmed already, okay, it's programmed already. So if you forget to overwrite what have been programmed, you might end up crashing your program. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, about using the Django's ways. Okay, because this code has been written and has been asked to perform in a particular way. Okay, and if we don't, if we forget to override these things, at times we might end up crashing our program. Let's say, for instance, we know that if we use the Django login view, that after a user has been logged in, okay, that it redirects the user to a profile page. So assuming our site never had a profile page, and we hosted that site, the program crashed, website crashed. Because when a user logs in and then it's saying page not found, problem. Okay, so at times, but at times I just both ways works. Okay, just that if you're using the Django way, always remember to override certain things to meet your own, to meet what you need. Okay, to meet what you need. All right. To meet what you need. So let's without wasting too much time again on the talking. Let's see how. So I'll start a very simple project in my document. Okay, so I've turned directory to document. So I'm in my document right now. So what I'll do is I'll make a new directory. It's like say create a new folder. So I want to create a new folder within this. So this folder is more like a working folder, right? Not actually my project folder, but a working folder. Okay, not project folder. Right? So the project folder will be found inside this working folder. Please take note of that. When I say a working folder is like your folder where your environment is. Now, when I say project folder, is your folder is the folder where the project folder itself, where certain the PY file is. Okay, that's a project folder. So just in case I say this folder thing, okay, we could be able to differentiate which folder I'm referring to, right? So this one now is like a working folder, right? So I'll create a new folder in my document and I'll call this folder Saturday, right? I'm running out of names. Saturday, right? I believe I had to spell Saturday. I believe so. Saturday. All right, so I'll sit into that folder. I've just put it. All right, Saturday. All right, Saturday. Right, so, for you. Okay, sorry. Saturday, no T. Right there, Saturday. All right, so I'm now in my working folder, right? So so it's this folder that you have your virtual environment, but I'll not create a virtual environment for this class. That's because I have Django installed in my machine by mistake, and I will move it after this class. Okay, so since what we do will be basic, okay, basic stuff. So there's no point of me creating the virtual environment. So I'll go ahead and use this Django that's installed on my machine directly, which will no longer exist after this class in my machine again. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and do what? Create a new project. Okay, and how do you do a new project? You do add Django admin. If you don't remember this command, please, there's no crime to go to Chrome and find them. There are times I forget this command. There's no law that says that you must cram these commands. There's no law. There's not, if anybody brings such law, should that person be caught. Django admin starts project, right? Starts project, right? Starts project, and then the project name. So the project name, I'll call it. Let's just say, okay, let's say class. A project called class. Okay, not class. Class doesn't really make sense. Okay, let's registration. Let's say that registration. Always registration, right? Let's say registration. Registration. Okay, that's the project name. And then Django will do its thing and create that folder for us. So now if I cd into registration, okay. Why am I spelling things wrongly? Registration. Right, so now that's now what? That's now my project folder. Now Saturday was what? Working folder. And this I want to know is now what? Project folder. So now, and then I'll go ahead and start what? A new app. Python manage .py start app. So it's good. Start app. And this app name I'm going to call it. Let's say home. Just can call it home for now. Okay. Just like home. I always like home app. All my products has home app. Okay, so and then I'll start the Python manage .py run. Okay, make migration. Let's go ahead and make migration first. Okay, let's migrate. There's an error that will show there, right? So let's just migrate real quick. Migrate. Okay, so now what we do is Python manage.py start up, right? Sorry, not start up, run server. Run server. All right, so if we go to localhost and we have our newly created project. Sorry. All right, so let's go to that folder and open it in where VS Code. So you have Saturday and registration. So I'll go ahead and open this in VS Code.
Oh, sir, why didn't we start a virtual environment?
Okay, why are they starting a virtual environment? I said that it to be a basic something, so we don't have, and I have Django pre-installed on my system by mistake. See the young man here. This young man is installed in my system by mistake. Okay, I wanted to install it on a virtual environment, and then I mistakenly installed it on my system, which I will delete it after now. Okay, so since that is installed on my system, I don't need to activate a virtual environment. It can be accessed directly, okay? But I don't like, I won't advise this, okay? I won't advise this. Since this changes, right? Since this Django version changes, so I won't want all my parents to use that particular version. Okay, so I won't advise. So that's why I do not have to start a virtual environment.
Okay.
So that it's installed on my machine directly. Okay. The other ones we have to install it on our virtual environment. So in order to use it, the environment must be on, right? So since this one is installed on my machine directly, I don't have to worry about virtual environment. Okay. So all right. So this is our folder, and we'll do the basic configuration. I'll add my app to the settings.py file. So on and so forth. Okay, it's still handy. Okay, so we have that. All right, so next thing is to add home. All right, so just has to be home for now. But if you have to do this, add the correct way of registering that. Okay, this add the correct way of doing that. Home.app.homeconfig. Okay, you can. That is the correct way of registering. Okay, let me go ahead and do it. Home.apps.home.config. All right, that's the correct way of doing that. So next thing I want to do is go to my root URL, and include the home URLs. Okay.
The home config you added at the last, is it just a variable name?
It's not a variable name. I'm saying that use this home configuration, this home apps configuration. Okay, so it must be that way. Capital H and capital C. It must be that way. Okay, I think I explained that in our previous class. I think I did that.
So if we create contact app now, it's going to be
contact.apps.contact.config. Yeah.
Okay.
So now I want to say that when someone goes to an empty URL, okay, without actually keying in anything, right? When you go to an empty URL without keying in anything, I want to include home.urls, and I have to import include right up there, include. Okay, so now what else is that's all we have to do in the projects folder, or should I say in the root folder. That's all we have to do. So now next thing we want to do is to come here and add a new file. Come here, you click on.
Well, what of the views.py? Sorry.
Yeah, we do. The views will come in the app itself, right? That the only thing we have to do in the projects folder is just to add that app to install app and then link the root URLs. The views will come in the app itself. Okay. So next thing is to create a urls.py, since Django has refused to create this one for us. Next thing I want to do is to say from Django.urls import path. Please feel free to Google this thing if you don't know where they are. Okay. I'm listening. My own is not having that yellow line now. Maybe I'm doing a wrong impression. Let's see. See, the yellow line is there. It has not come back. I don't know, but it has come back again. But anyway, we still use it. So next thing is app name. Okay. App name, and I still ask why we have to do this. App name.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the good work you are doing, sir.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir. My question is, you said once we have we forget something, we should Google it.
Yes.
Now, how, for example, you within you know what you want to do, but you don't actually know the module that does what you want to do. For example, I need, let's say registration. Now I want to do registration, and I don't know that I have to go through Django.auth and all those parts. So how do I even how do I read the proper documentation to know what I want? How do I Google writing? Let me put it that way.
All right. So this is how you do it, right? So it depends on how you want to do it. Like now that we want to do it on ourselves, okay? It depends on how you want to do it. If you want to use the Django form, right? Because over time you will know that a Django form, if you're using the Django user registration form, okay, you have to import it, okay? Because with them you know that that's what that's what Django uses to register a new user, okay? So now what should be bothered that is how do you get this form? Okay, that will be the main problem. Now, how do you get this form? Okay, that will be the main issue. Now, how do you get the form? So now you just go online, then you Google where to import or importation. Anyhow I want to put it, anyhow I want to put it, where to import, okay? Now that form is called user creation form. Let's assume that you don't even know that form name. Then what to do is where to import I'm sorry, this thing I've set already. Where to import this thing is handy. It will be so now what you want to search is you search for, let's say, where to import you can say creation of user or anything, okay, like anything that can also users any new options, like anything that can actually depict what you're trying to find. Now you know that the thing is that the way this thing works on keyword, okay? The keyword there is that you want Django must be there to even know that this problem is a Django-based problem. Next thing is user, but since it's a new user, we have to import, like you can say, like new user form, okay? New user form in Django, and then we learn something just give, like, in fact, probably the first line itself should answer that question. I believe you guys can hear me and you guys can see my screen. So as I was saying, first of all, you have to choose. Are you the one that want to handle this thing, or Django, or you want Django to handle it yourself, right? If you want by itself, sorry, if Django wants to handle it, if you want Django to handle it by itself, you know that what you need is what you need, the Django form, right? The user creation form. So now the problem is, where do I import it from? Now you go to online, you know what, you import it. Now the next thing is, how do you validate this form? Now you do what? You now go online and now search for how to validate Django creation form. Okay, how to validate Django creation form. And probably so the first link that you see to even get it, to even get this, will have a code, okay, a code pertaining to this, and you can see them here, right? So all these things are there, right? All these codes are there online, okay? Are there online. Just if I see it here itself, it's a sample code has been given to us. A sample code has been given to us here. So with this, you can see how to get this form, pass it in, and then validate this form, okay, and then validate that form, and that is that, right? But in this case, we are the one that wants to do what, handle things ourselves, right? So now what we want to do is, so far we've created a new project, and we've created a new app. We've done the root URL, and we've added that app to our install setting. Now we want to do a URL to a certain views, right? To certain views, right? So now probably let's go ahead and write the views first, and then we link it first. So the first view we want to do is now is what, the login view. Sorry, the sign up view, right? The sign up view. So then first thing is the function or the view name. Okay, so you have sign up. So we have sign up, right? You have sign up. We have sign up, and then as usual, sign up takes in request, and then it returns and render. I want to render, right? You want to render. And then when and the render takes in request, and as well takes in what, and as well takes in the HTML. So this will be home/register dot HTML. Okay. All right. So I know that we know this process already. So I'll just go ahead and create a new folder and call this folder templates with S, and then backslash and call it home. And then inside here, I'll come and create a new file and call this register.html. And this will just be, so let's go ahead and render that view, right? So this is the view, this is our view here. And then we want to go ahead and import that view to our URL. So we say from what? Okay, from our current directory, models, from our current directory, not models, sorry.
Views.
Not, yeah, views. We want to go ahead and import
Sign up.
sorry. So now here is where we actually make the path. This path will be register, right? Register. Okay, and then that register will go to the sign up views. Okay, which is sign up views. And then this URL, we want to call it register. Okay, register. All right, so probably I saw a break. Okay, still up and running. All right, so if I come back here, let me hide this thing for now. All right. If I come back here and I refresh this, this is to show us page not found. All right, so page not found, right? So that's good. Next thing is that you want to add register here. Register. And it says page not found. This is interesting. So let's see what is happening here. All right, let's say home start. Okay, let's go back to our URLs, and let's see that we want let's refresh this. All right, so that is that. So that we are not having the register page right there, but currently nothing is showing. Right, so I believe I know that we know how we did all that already. So far, normally what we would have done is to import a Django form, but we do this thing ourselves, right? So here will just be a simple HTML, right? Very simple HTML. A simple HTML file that says h2 will be register. It will not be beautiful, but at least it will serve the purpose of making us to understand. So next thing is I want to put a form, because this should be and this form I want it to be a get form, and I want to submit it to the current page that it is. So no need of specifying the action. All right. So next thing is I want to put a div. All right. So this div here will have a label for, let's say, we want to register for, let's say, this one will be username, right? Username, okay. Here will be username. Now remember, if you are using, which we'll be using, okay, so give me a few minutes, let me go ahead and create a super user here. So let me create a super user here. So I'll say Python, so I can access that admin panel. Python manage.py, create super user. Okay. And let's say I want this to be admin. And I'll leave that blank, and I want password to be, let's say, I want password to be that and that. So that has been created successfully. So I'll be using this table, the users table, okay, the users table. That's the table I'll be using. I'll be using the users table. All right. So this is the admin. This should be admin. So I believe that part was the same. Oh, not the same. Sorry. All right. So nope. So I'll be using this table, right? So I won't create a user table already for it. So now, in order to create a user or to add a record to this table, this field, the username field is compulsory. Okay, the username field is compulsory. The rest are optional. You can add, you can leave. Okay, but let's just say I'll go ahead and get all these fields. Okay, I'll go ahead and get all those fields. I'll make it compulsory. In our case, okay, so this one will be input text. It will be a text. This will have an ID of username. Okay, and then it will have the content of this field. That field must have a name. So the field here is this input, right? That input is a field, right? So a user will type in this. So to get to get the so I say what is content in this field, that this field must have a name. So we call this name user name. We call this name username. Okay, username, and I'll just do the same thing for the rest of them. Okay, so I'll paste this one for this one would be for email. Okay, and this one will be an email field. This field here we'll call it email, and here will be email as well. Email as well.
Okay, hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
To get things right, I think you don't want to use user creation form. You want to do it yourself.
Yes, we want to do this ourselves. All right. So the next one is want to get what's the first name and last name. Okay, first name. Let's just say first name. First name, and this one will be for F name. Okay, and this one will be F name, and the other one too will be F name. And so since F name is similar to L name, so just copy this other one instead, and then just change the F to L. That's last name, and this one here will be last name. Okay. Okay. One more thing. We need a button to submit this form. Okay. So this one here would be, so you don't need label there again. Need just here will be button. To be, or probably they just change this to button, not input field, right? This should be button, and it will be a submit kind of button. I will now say register. Okay, we now say register, and this one will be last name. Okay, this one will be an email field. And let's make all these things, all these fields required, right? A user must fill in all these fields, right, in order to submit. So here will be required. Here would be required, and here would be required. Okay. All right. So let's just have a look at this. It will be nice, but let's just see how it looks like. All right. So that's what we have. So let's see how you can space this. Let's BR to break this. BR here to break this. BR here to break this, and BR here to break that. All right. So that is this what we have for the register, right? So let's do the same thing for login, right? Let's do the same thing for login, right? So let's create a new template here and call it login.html, right? .html. So I'll go ahead and copy this whole page, to the login page, and then paste it. Here we just need, so since Django uses a username and password, okay. Oh, we missed password. Since Django uses username and password, so we just put two things there: the username and then password. Okay. All right. So what do we need again? Is username. Here will be password, not email. Here will be password. Here will be password, and here would be password. Okay, sorry. Here will be for pass. Or here say pass there, right? And ID here will be pass, right? Pass, right? And then here will be password. Let's just put password there. That's the name of that field. To capture that field, we need that name. Right. So the input tab will be password, not an email. Right. So let's go back to the register. We forgot password. So after this, we need password. The first password 1 and password 2, right? Remember, when you go to the site, you have enter a password and then confirm password. Okay. So here we say password. Here we say here will be confirm password. Confirm password. Okay. Password. All right. So this will be for pass 1. Pass 1. So the name of this will be password. Password 1. Okay. So here will be pass 2. Pass 2, and here would be pass 2. And here would be password 2. The name password 2. And it won't be text, it will be a password kind of input. Okay. Password kind of input, right? So that's for password, that's for login, right? So the other one would be logout. Logout does not need a this thing. Logout does not need logout does not need this. Logout does not need form. Okay. It does not need form. So what we say here will be a div, a p, and we say you have logged out, right? So that will be that for that. Okay, so that is our login, logout, register, right? And then let's go ahead and write a views that shows all this. So I just copy this and paste. Please, if I'm too fast, you let me know, please. Right. So here will be login. Here that we login, and we render what? We render login.html, and here would be logout. And what we want to do is want to show the logout. We render the logout.html. Okay. And that's okay. The URL is left, right? So just copy this and paste. Copy this and paste and go ahead and import those two other views. So you have the login, you have the logout. Okay, so here would be login, and here would be what? Logout. Okay, and here would be logout. And then if I come here would be login, and the other one would be what? Logout. That one will be logout. All right, so let's see if this is working perfectly well. Okay, this. Oh, a comma, I think. A comma. It is a list. So you have to unit our comma. Right, so you can take off that last one. If that's the last item there. So I refresh this and everything is working. So if I go to logout or login, let's see login. Login, okay, and then if I go to logout, we should see we have logged out successfully. We have logged out successfully. Okay, so no, but currently doesn't work because if I refresh here, I'm still logging. So we just use this to we will use this page to see if it's actually working. Okay, so far if I've actually logged out, I should be logged out from the admin page, but I'm still logged in. Right, so that means nothing is working yet. Nothing is working yet. So let's start with what? Let's start with the register. Let's start with register. Okay. All right. So this is what we have in the register, and all these fields are compulsory. You have to fill them in. If not, you cannot submit this form. Okay. All right. So is there any question on how I stop that? Is there a question on how I did the setup of that?
Yeah, let me ask a quick question. If you can go to the register.html or any of them.
All right, register.html. All right.
Yeah, so you type in this label and that whole line comes out. I just tried it now. The whole line didn't come out for mine.
Which editor are you using?
What?
When you type the label, okay, it shows like this, right? Then you click enter and that whole line, and this is what you have. So the rest, you just come and fill it in. This is what will come out.
It's not actually the same thing here.
It's not the same thing. Which editor is that? VS Code?
VS Code, yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what is wrong with VS Code these days. Okay. Honestly, I don't know what.
Have you coded login?
Yes, I've coded the login. See that's here the login.
Yes,
oh, sorry, they should be login. Now this time.
Can you explain it?
The login. Okay, it's just a form. Okay, it's a form that has place to put your username and your password. Okay, so since Django uses username and password to authenticate or to log in users, so we just provide it here. So now, but what we do now is that once users key in all these things and submit, okay, we will not do that logic ourselves. Okay, we do not do that logic ourselves. So right now, just form, right? Just form.
It's not working, Abby. It's not working yet.
Yes, not working. None of it is working. None of it is working. None of the views is working. So if I go to login, this is the login. If I click on it, nothing happens. Oh, one more thing before I forget. Our CSRF token. Remember, we can't do it. We can't submit any form in Django without that. Okay. So if they should be login, and then right above our form, we should add what? Cross-site request forgery token. Cross-site request forgery token. Okay, so same thing will go to the other form. So I copy this to register.
You cannot be able to.
Yes, without that, we cannot submit that form. It's added security. Okay, so if I register now, if I refresh now, okay, so I said that we will use our admin panel to check if we've actually logged in, right, or log out or register. So if I let me log out here, if I log out here now and come here to log in and come back here and refresh, I'm still logged out. That means nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. So if so nothing has happened yet. That's because nothing is working. It's not logging me in. Let's see. All right, so nothing has actually happened. I'm not being logged in. All right, so that means this thing is not working. This whole thing is not working. None of it is working. I think I've done this now. I've actually done this. All right, so if I submit this, nothing is happening. Right, I'm not being logged in or log out. Or if I go to log out, now, I'm not being logged out. You see, nothing has worked yet. So if I go to log out, which you have logged out. If I come here and refresh, I'm still being logged in. Nothing has happened. All right, so let's go ahead and hook up this functionality. Okay, let's start with register. Let's just be with me. We'll be done soon, right? We'll be done soon. All right, so let's see what's happening here, right? So now what happens is that each time we submit data, we do what? We make a post request. to a certain URL. That URL is specified where? In the action of this form. The action of this form. Now, it is this action that you not specify where do you want to submit this form to, okay? So now, if you do not specify in this form, to submit that form to that page again, to the exact page, okay? So in our own case, we want this thing to be submitted to this same page, right? That's why we now put in the action. But if I had another page in mind, okay, if I had another page in mind, I would have specified it there, okay. But since I want this to be sent to this same page, so there's no point of adding the action there, okay. There's no point of adding the action there. All right. So now, since it will be submitted to this same view, okay, I not specified that action, and I said that by default, each time we go to a URL, we make a GET request. So far, is this a GET request? So how do we tell when a particular request is a POST request? So first of all, we have to check if that request is a POST request. Okay, so I'll come to sign up and say that if first of all check if a request, okay, the request.method, if a request.method is equals to what? A post. That's a post request. All right. So now it's only when the request is equals to a post request you want to do what? Get data. Okay, you want to get those data. Right. So now if I come here and say print, come here and say print, and let's say if I come here and say print, let's say post request made. All right, post request made. Okay, so now if I go back to our register and refresh and come to our command prompt, nothing happened, right? Nothing has been printed to the command prompt. If I refresh again, nothing is still sent to the command prompt, right? But the moment I fill in this thing, let's say I fill in this thing .com, okay, .com, and then I come here, I fill in this, and I fill in this as well, and click register. Okay, if I go back to the command prompt and I see post request made. Okay, so now it is only when we submit a form that we make what? A post request. And since we not specify where this post request should be made, it was sent to where that same page, and which is this sign up page here. Okay, so now what happens now? We want to grab the data, we want to grab the data in this field. That's we want to grab the content of this field once a post request is made. Okay, you want to grab the content of that field once that post request is what is made. So now how do we grab the content of this field? Now the content of this field comes with the post, okay, the post request as well. So what we do is we can come here and say once there's a post request, that we should do what? Go ahead and grab that we should go ahead and do what? Grab the content of that field. And how do we grab the content of a field? We go ahead and we say that since this request is a post, and this post come with those data, we do request dot post in caps lock dot get. Now we get whatever data that we want to get. Okay, and I said that, remember when we're building this HTML form, I said that each field should have a name. Okay, it is this name that we will get, because this name now will now contain or will now have the value of that field. So now if I say request.post.get this name called username, right? Next, if I get this username in the views, I come here and say get the username. Okay, and then I assign this to a variable called user name. Now if I go ahead and print username, if I go ahead and print this username, I go ahead and print that username, okay, and let's go ahead and then you see that we'll get the value of this username here. So if I go ahead and submit this form again, which one actually submit? Let's see what happens there. Let's see if I see this. See, it sends the username admin. Okay, that's because that's what we typed there. Now, if I come here again and let's say I put something else, let's say I put Shelby as the username, okay, and let's say the rest of them would be something else as whatever.com, okay, and first them will be anything, and then click register. Now, if I go to my command prompt again, now you see I've grabbed the username called Shelby, okay? So that's how we get a particular field, okay, that comes from a post request, okay? So first of all, that field must have a name. It is that name that we get, and then we now grab the value of that field, okay? So I'll go ahead and do for the rest of them. So I'll just copy this, okay? I'll just copy the same thing and grab the rest of the field in that sign of form there, right? So I'll copy this. I'll copy this and then paste this, and paste this. So this other one would be email. This other one now would be what? Email. And this should be small letter. Email. Okay. And then this other one should be first name. So you could say F name. Right? And this other one now would be L name. And this other last one will be like, okay, I think two last ones, two. So the next one will be password 1, and another one will be password 2. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and then we grab those fields, right? So those field was email field, okay. Then register again, we have what? We have the F name and L name for the first and last name, and password 1 and password 2 for those passwords, right? So we come here and then we say for first name, we grab the F name, and then we grab the L name, and then we grab the password 1, and then we grab the password 2. Okay, so I believe you guys are following the question there. Okay, all right. So please, you can go ahead. Okay, so then most of us have church to attend tomorrow. Okay, most of us have asked for permission to exit the class. Okay, it's okay. Well, I don't know how you guys will get. Okay, I believe that the video will be posted on YouTube, so I believe so, right? But if you could just give me like 30 minutes, I'll be done. I'll be done real quick. So I'll be done in real quick. So if you just give me like 30 more minutes, I'll be done, please. So I believe that you guys have followed up to this point.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
so
yes.
okay. All right. So okay. So the next thing. So now we've grabbed all those values there, right? We've grabbed all those values there. Next thing you want to do is you want to create a. Since you are going to do what? Since remember to add a record to a table. Remember that is done using, assuming that we have a table called post. To add a record to that post, we do what we call the table name post, right? And then in bracket the fields and what we want to add to those fields, and then we save, right? That's how we actually add a record. So the same thing is applicable to this table here. You want to add a record to this table, right? This table here. Let's hide this for now. I want to add a record to this table here, right? The users table. I want to add a record to this table. So now, I don't know why my thing is taking time to load. So to add a record to this table, so to add a record to this table, we'll do we'll go ahead and do a similar thing. Okay, we'll go ahead and do a similar thing, right? And it will be easy and quick. So what Django did behind that scene was that when he now passed that form to us, we now used, and then Django now went ahead and grabbed. So what we did here, Django did it in one line, but we actually did the same thing in multiple lines. Doesn't matter, we still achieve the same task, all right? So then what happens is that Django now use what we call a create user method that comes alongside with this table, with that user creation. Remember that this table is not our table, it's Django table. This table came alongside with Django, so we have to import that table. Normally, if this table was in our models, what we have done from .models, right? And then we import that table. But since this table is not our own table, it's from Django, right? So we have to import it from where it is. And that table is called user table. That's the name of that table. Okay. So now we have to import this table from where? We have to import it from Django .contrib .auth .models. Okay. Import that table, right? This table there. Import this table, the user table. Right? Feel free to Google where that table is. Okay, it's okay to if this is long, right? Just feel free to go ahead and Google it where to import that table. So that's this table here. So now I want to add a new record to this table. Okay, we want to add a new record to this table. I remember in this table, the only compulsory field in this table is what is username and password. That's the only compulsory field in this table. So meaning that we can create a user without an email first or last name. Okay, without an email first or last name. The important thing is here that we need what? Username and password. That's the important thing. Right, then we can go ahead and add the first, last, and this email once this user has been created, and then we go ahead and save. So now to add this, right? Okay, to add this, we now go ahead and say, okay, fine. Once all this record has been grabbed, okay, within that post method. Now, what I want you to do is to check first, because we don't want to even create a. Because now this thing now we have to check it manually. Okay, we have to check this thing manually. Okay, so now you have to check if password 1 is the same thing as password 2, because we can't create an account for you if you're not sure of your password. Okay, so you now check if what password 2 what is equals to what password 1. Right, if they are the same, right, then fine, you go ahead and know what, we go ahead and we create a new user. And remember, so I'll assign this to a variable called new user. All right, new user. I'll assign that to a variable called new user. All right, so now I'll now say that I want to add a new record to the user table. And since this table is not our table, is Django table, and the way it says we add a new record is not the normal way that we just call the table name and then in parentheses the field, like let's say the username field, and then we assign the username equals to username, right? That's what we have done. It's equals to username, the username field equals to username, and then password. Since they're the same, so we just pick one password. We can just say that password is equal that password is equals to password 1. Okay, so it will be password. There's a field called password, so that we want to assign that field to a field called password 1. Since 1 and 2 are the same, so we just pick 1, right? So since this table is not our table, we can't do this. So to add a new record, we do that user table, right? That user table dot objects.
Hey, Oshari.
Sorry.
How far now? Where you there now? 239.
All right, so what we do now, so now since this table is not our own table, and Django says that in order to add a record to this table, we must do user.object.create underscore user, right? So you must add that. You must add that. So that's how you can add a new record to that table, right? User.object.create user, right? And then since these fields are compulsory, right? Since these fields are compulsory, we can just do these two fields and then go ahead and add the rest, or we can just add all of them at once. So I'll go ahead and say email. So I say email equals to what? Email equals to this, the email that we grab from there, okay? And then I want the first name, right? Because that's the field name in that table. First name. Okay. So I want the first name to be equals to what? F name, right? And then I want the last name, right? The last name to be equals to L name, right? So we have username, the email, first name, last name, and password, right? So that is all the fields in that table. If you come to that table, we see those fields: username, email, first name, last name, and password. Leave the staff status, right? So with that, you can add a new record to that field and then go ahead and do what? Save this record. So say new user dot save, okay, dot save. Right, so now after that has been saved, we want to do what? We want to redirect this user to go and log in, right? Go and log in. I have created accounts for you, but now go and log in, right? So I'll go ahead and import redirect, right? So after that has been done, I want to come here and say return a redirect, all right? A redirect to where? To home. Home where login, to login URL, right? I want the user to be taken to the login URL, right? So that is that for creating a new user. Is there any question about that? And before we go ahead and test this out and see if it's working.
Just explain that new user.
Okay, here, this line. Now remember, since this table is not our own table, okay? And Django says in order to add a new record to this table, we have to add .object.createUser, and then we give the field whatever you want to insert. And then so far that table has the username field, email field, first name, last name, and password. Okay, so we're just assigning and what we've grabbed to all those fields here. Okay, and then we go ahead and save it. So we did this in ORM. So then the only new thing here is the .object.create, the .object.create user. This is only applicable to this table called to this user table. That is only applicable to that user table. So you must add that in order to add a new record to that table.
So are we saying the get variables? Is it the get variables? Are we saying the get variables? Is it what we are assigning to the variables holding that particular request?
Yes. We are assigning this username here that's being grabbed here. We assign it to this field here. We grab the email as well, assign it to the email field as well. The F name, we assign it to the first name, and so on and so forth. Any question on that?
That user you put there, does it mean the user table?
Yes, the user table. Is this table.
Another name for object in that line is what?
Mean another for object. It's just the way Django says that we must add that to add a new record to that table. Objects in a sense, the sense that saying a record. Okay, so like if we're adding, like, because remember, once we create a new record, it's like us creating a new object for that table. Okay, so I say add a new record, okay, of creating a new user with this field. Now create a new user with these fields that I have specified, and then add it to that table, and then go ahead and save to the database. Now, once that is saved, I want you to take the user to the login page for user to do what? Login.
The password, you select only one password. Are you selecting the two passwords?
No, I'm setting only one password because we have only one field for the password. So I'm taking only one. So since both of them are the same, since password 2 is the same as password 1, so I just pick one. So you can use password 2. It's still the same thing. Is there your question there?
Sorry, please. So basically what you're saying now, the reason we are going through all this process as opposed to the last the class we had when you were teaching ORM on command prompts, the reason we are going through all this process is because we are using Django's created tables, right? If we were trying to relate with our own models, we wouldn't go through all this process.
We would have gone through all the process. The only thing we want to have added would have been this thing here, this two thing here. The process is the same. We grab the data from the form. We add those data as a new record to our table. So it's only this thing that is new here, and then we go ahead and save.
Okay, but we use the class function when we were creating our own tables, not def function. Okay.
No, here we are just here we are adding a record to an existing table. This table exists
already. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're just adding new record to that table.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I should just ask my question now.
Okay, go ahead.
From where we imported, I don't know if you can make the screen a bit to the left. Yeah, from Django.contrib. Okay, so now if we are importing from our own model, now my question is this: assuming in my own project file now, I have two apps. Okay, let's assume one is account and the other is say home. Okay, so I created my model, like a model in the account app.
Okay.
Yes. So if I want to import now, how would I write it? From account.model or what?
Exactly. From the app name, app name.
Okay.
Dot models.
Okay.
Sorry, dot models.
Okay.
Import the model name.
Okay, but I when I did it, it didn't work.
Probably should display.
Okay. Then I have to now copy the model
down
model, copy it and bring it here. Okay. Yeah, that's what I missed. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So just have to do this from account account dot models. I want to import this model name.
Okay.
Right. So I'll comment on this out. So it should just be there for reference purpose. All right. So that's how you would do that. So any other question?
To import what? To import what?
The question was to import a model from another app. Okay, from another app. Right. So let's assume that let's assume you have like a product app. Okay. And somewhere in your views, in your, let's say in your account app, you want to add new products. How do you add new products now? You have to import that model from that app to this other app and then add to that model. So in order to import that, you do this from the app name dot models. Okay, then you import the model name. So that's like that's the syntax there for importing from another app to a particular app.
Okay, sorry, another question. So if we are going to like impute a new record into our model on this VS Code now, after we've imported, we don't need to write the code of python.migrate.py shell.
No,
we don't need to write it here.
No. That shell was only for us to make it like for us to access this our app from our shell from the command prompt.
Okay, from command prompt. Okay, yeah.
The model we created to create additional table. Abi, when we create table, that model we did that time was to create a table fields.
You mean here?
No, in that model.py. Model.py.
I mean in model.py. Yeah, sorry, what's the question? I think I'm lost.
What do we actually
What do I do?
What do we actually create in that as this place?
All right. What we create in this place is a table for our database. That will be created here.
Can create a table here, it will automatically appear in that database, Abi?
Yes. If you create a table here, it will automatically appear in the database.
Then we can now also go to the view. We can now also put it in the view.
Yes.
Using this from django.contribute.auto.models.
No. As now will be from the app name .models import the model name. So here, this whole thing here is the same thing as this place here, right?
Import the model name that we put, the model name that we created. Okay.
Yes. So here is like a location of that model. Okay, it's in this app.model, right?
And also it's in that model that primary keys and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we are understanding this thing. Not that time we are doing Django. That to us. We are
all right.
It's entering now.
Okay, so all right, that's good. That's really good. All right. Any other question before we proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
I wish that all those this particular piece now we are using the actual Python basic that we learn. We are using the control structure that we learn, if then and all those things. I wish we can even use more of the Python code that we actually dynamic website. You actually implements if in social whereby we use like two table two particular web pages and do some mathematics calculation and all those things. I wish product calculation and all those things, formatting. If we have been doing this thing, it will help us understand the functionality of Python aspect that we actually, because at the beginning I was like saying, where are we even implementing the Python? When we are saying Django all the time, now I can see that we are importing if. We are including if here. I'm seeing the benefit of the if I learn and all those stuff. It's kind of use more of the control structures to make our website more dynamic and all those things. To be more yeah, you can even create a calculator, an online calculator. You can even create a dollar rate conversion, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Please go
Hello,
on.
sir. Yeah, please. I was wondering if you can scroll
Please, I want
to
to
the
ask.
end so that I can see the end of.
And that we are creating.
No, to the side.
Right to the side. This side. Right. This side.
To the new user. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Go and sorry, the take some. Sorry. Go on.
Please, I want to ask, now that we're creating a register page for a user, how can us, the creator, like the owner of the website, see the amount of people that have used our website? Just like for example, Facebook now. When we create an account with Facebook, the owner of Facebook knows the amount of people that are using Facebook. So now also we create our own website, how will we be able to now see all our users? And let's say they made a mistake in something, we can now send them messages, or we delete the account if they are not going according to the standard we want them to do.
Okay, right. This is where you see all users. So far, the only one user on this site, which is just I. Right. So if it's 10,000 users, you have 10,000 users here.
So okay, that means we have to log into our Django admin page to see all the people that are using our website.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I think it has to be the cPanel of the host. Abi?
No, you can actually log into your admin panel and go to users. You get all the users that are using your site.
Okay.
So,
I'm very happy.
All right. So, any other questions? Shall we proceed? The remaining login and logout will be simple. more simple than this. Right, so okay. Any other question? All right, so I believe we followed along up to that point. All right. All right, so let's see if this is actually working as planned. Right, let's see if this is actually working as planned. All right, so let's go ahead and go to here and then let's try and see if we can register a new user. All right, so I'll just refresh this page. All right, I'll refresh this page. So I'll come here and I'll say I'll register with a new username. So I'll call this Shelby. Shelby. Okay, and email will be Shelby gmail.com. Okay, and here first name will be Thomas. All right, and last name will be Shelby as well. Right, and the password, I'll just do something strong. And I'm not sure that password is the same. If not, we'll not be able to sign up. Okay, and then let's click on register and let's see. And it says no reverse for login. Right? Okay, that's a good idea. It works, right? That means we've actually created and we've gone somewhere. And the problem we're having here is the login. So let's see what is happening in the login URL. And we happen that we now have any name for login, right? So let's say this to login. And the other one to register and to log out, sorry. To log out. Right? And then let's refresh this and let's see. And that account has been created already. Okay, that account has been created already. So let's go back to our account and let's refresh and see. Now you see we have a new record there. Shelby with Shelby at Gmail, Thomas as first name, and Shelby as last name. Okay, that it's working now. So now let's just try one more thing, right? Let's just try one more account. And see. So next thing is I want to create another one called Poly. I want to create another one called Poly.
The password principle itself. Those password principle, you know, special character, all those stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to write the code down.
Gmail.com, and then this one will be Poly as first name, and Shelby as last name, and then password will be something strong. No, Django will let us do that. Okay, and then we click on register, and then it takes us to login page. Okay, now if I
the character, the password character, how do you implement that?
How did I do that?
Implement the password character.
Okay, have I written code to implement it already? Okay, but Django wouldn't even let you to create an account with that. Okay, but have I actually written the code to implement that? Okay, I know already that the password should get all those things intact. The uppercase, number, and special characters. Okay.
What I mean is the asterisk.
What you mean, sorry?
The asterisk in the password.
You mean the asterisk in the password?
Yeah.
Like, how did I implement it?
Like, where do we specify the characters that we show on the password, on the test field for password?
Like, I think I've lost. Like, should I say?
No.
I think I am lost.
Can you go to the HTML for register?
Okay, let's go to HTML for register.
Under the password, yeah, is it the keyword password that is making it to come as asterisk?
Okay, as asterisk, yeah, it is this tab called password. It is the tab called password that makes it come as asterisk.
Okay.
It is the tab password. Yes, tab password. Yes, yes. So now, if you see, if you refresh here now, we now have those two accounts has been created successfully. Right. So that what happened behind the scene of user creation form. Right. That what happened. This whole thing happened behind that scene. Okay. this whole thing can happen behind that scene, right? So you can also go ahead and be more strict, okay? Like be more strict again in this direction, okay? These are the basic. This basically what just happens, right? Have not so far have not checked if an email or if I want to make the email to be unique. So first of all, I have to check if that email exists in the database, right? So have not checked all those ones because those fields are not unique in Django. Okay, they're not unique. Okay, so someone can have the same email with you. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it doesn't really matter. But this is what happens behind the scene. That's the basic of what happens behind the scene. All right. So that's for the user registration, right? So because of time, let me quickly do the login and the logout. Okay. Let me quickly do the login and logout. So we can end this class by 1 before 11. Right? 1 before 11. So now for the login, what happens once a user logs in, right? So same thing is going to happen. Same thing, similar to this other one, similar to this, right? So what we want to do is want to check that if a request is made here, now another request is a post request. So we check if request dot method, if request dot method is equals to post, okay? If request dot method is equals to post, then we want to grab what the username and password, right? We want to grab the username and password. So copy it and paste it and copy password and paste it. So I want to grab that and grab this. So let's check what we specify in the login field. So it's password and username. So we grab those, okay? Now once we grab that, now you want to go what you want to check if that user is in our database, okay? Now after checking that, you want to do what? Like now you want to check if the username if this username matches a password in our database, okay? If they match, you want to do what? You want to go ahead and log in. So now we want to use a function called authenticate, okay? Django will help us to check if that actually do exist, okay? Then if it exists, we go ahead and we log them in. So I'll import authenticate, okay? It's a function. So I'll say from Django.contrib.auth import authenticate, okay? Authenticate. All right, so that's what we use to check if that user and password matches, like if that password is assigned to that username or that username is assigned to that password, okay? Stay there. We'll use this to check if those things match, okay? Then they match them. So if they match, you want to go ahead and log them in. So you go ahead and import login also a function that will log them in as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So so we need those two. We need those two. So now, now after grabbing this username password, what we want to check is we want to check if that user do exist, okay? We want to check if that user do exist, right? So now you can say authenticate. Okay, that's that function that we imported update. And this function takes in an argument called request. You must take in that request as a required argument. Then the other two things that it takes in is the username and password. So the username and password. So username and password. So that's the only two things it takes in. So it takes in these three things: request, username, and password. So now, which username do we want to pass here? We want to pass this username now to it. So this will be want to check if the field of username do exist, and also check if the password is for that username. Okay, also check if the password is for that username, right? So now after grabbing this, we assign the username and password to the username field and the password field, and then we pass in the request. So I'll go ahead and assign this to a variable called user. Okay. So now once that is done, okay, if it exists, right? If that thing do exist, right? If the username and the password exist, now I want to check because it should return a user, right? If it exists, that thing will this function will return the user object, right? But if it doesn't exist, it return none. So now I want to check that if user, right? If user is not none, that's if it does not return none, that's if it's returned an object, okay? Mean that it exists, right? That is mean that this thing matches, right? This thing matches. Now, if that thing matches, right, I want to go ahead and do what? Login. Login what? I want to go ahead and log in the user. But see, this login takes in request and the user update. So I'll pass in the request as well. All right. So that's what happens then. That's the only thing that happens behind the login scene. The authenticate checks if these users do exist. If they exist, does this credential match? Does the username match the password, or does the password match the username? If it match, return that user and save it in this variable here. If it doesn't match, return none and save it to this variable here called user. Now I now come here and check because I only want to log them in if they match. Okay. So now I now come here and check if user is not none. Okay, only log in if user is not none. So that means probably this thing has authenticated and then return a user variable and not none. Okay, so now and I check if this user now is not none, go ahead and log them in. Then after logging them in, I want to return them some way. Okay, but funny enough, we don't have any view to return them, so we could return them some. I don't know. We could return them somewhere, or we just be in that page. We just return back to that page. So we could just return back to the same login page. Okay. So we return and redirect. Return and redirect to where? home_login to the login page.
Register.
Or register probably, but they've logged in, so there's no point of returning back to go and register. Let's go ahead and create a simple view, a home view. Okay, Dave, let us create this view, a home view. Request and then return what and render. Return and render request. Okay, and then return what? Return home, and then render this template that is called index.html. All right, so, and let's create this file. Copy. Let's create this file, new file. So paste. Sorry, question. Sorry.
Can you go back to the code?
Right, to the code. So it's a simple view that is a view that returns this HTML page.
The user.
Huh?
The user does not know.
Okay, the user login here.
It's not know. The user login is not means is really the variable we collected from the input when you authenticate and the value is not empty, like it does not exist.
Yes, Abi? Yes, no, yes. Once we authenticate and that value is not empty, that means we have a value there. I want to go ahead and log in that user.
Okay. What is the work of that request?
Request. It's compulsory. It's compulsory. It's compulsory. It's compulsory that you pass in that request variable. Okay. You pass in that request variable and then you go ahead and pass in the user that has been authenticated and then log them in.
Okay.
Right. So now I want to return to this to to this page, to the home page. One user has been logged in. Okay, so here is home page. Now I now come to my URLs and add button URL and then add something. I'll paste here and then bring here and bring home here. Bring home there and then remove this. Then remove that and then call this home. Okay, so now after they've logged in, right? After they've logged in, I want to return them to where? To the home page. Home page, okay? All right, so let's see if this works. So for purpose of this,
there's another this thing now. Another
sorry,
redirect. Another redirect.
Yes, another redirect after they've logged in. I want to take them to the home page.
Not return.
Oh, so where?
Okay, this return render is the okay. That return render request home clinical.
Okay, that one returns. Okay, this one is not even necessary. Okay, this one it returns this page if it's a GET request. Yes, it renders this page on if it's a GET request. Now once it
what's the function of that code again? The CSRF. What do you say it's for?
It has been submitted. It returns to the home page. Okay.
The CRF. What does it mean?
Where?
The CRF in the HTML. In the HTML.
Where?
Like the HTML for register. You see it there.
Wait, sorry, the CR
HTML for register. HTML for register. For register.
Okay. This thing here.
Yes.
I said that this thing is required to submit any form on Django. So you must put that thing.
Okay.
It's additional security. Okay.
Okay. And also
right,
that's made all those authenticator and login as well.
No, it's like it's like a way of telling Django that this form is of us. Okay, that we know this form. So go ahead and process this form.
Okay. Security reason.
Yeah. Django won't even let you submit the form without that thing. So we'll go ahead and test the login and see if that works. So what I'll do here is I'll log out here. Okay. So I'll come here and log in. Let's see if this thing works. So I'll click on login here, and it says that login text what we were given to. Let's see what's happening there.
Let me check the name, spelling of the name.
All right, so let's see what's happening. Login text one person argument, but we're given two. All right, so let's see. All right, so let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and move this request. Let's see something. Move that request, and then I'll refresh this, and then log in again. User has no attribute method. If request done. All right, so let's see. Let me try and debug that. Okay. All right, so let's see. All right. Okay, if there's not none, let me pass the login request. This thing should work. Request, comma, user. All right, so let's see.
Let's see what's happening. So I refresh it and try to log back in. So let me do a simple Google search here. Right, so let's log in.
What if you bring this thing up? The render up?
No, that's a problem. So let's see what's happening here. Log in. This is Django documentation. All right, so this is how it should be, and we've done that just well. Okay, so all right, so we'll go ahead and copy this and let's see. This should work just fine. What that is behaving.
Check our URL. Know the name. The form.
Let's read the URL. It's not even passing there. All right, so let's refer this and let's see. All right, so okay, I think I know what should be the issue.
That is wrong. Or you create a new user that we know the password. Create a new user, then you put password that we know.
All right, I'll debug that real quick. So I'll debug that real quick. And then, all right, so let's copy this and let's do a simple Google search. Let's see what Stack Overflow has to say about that. Oh, okay. All right, I've seen the problem.
Login pass.
No, we are using a keyword here. This keyword, this login is a keyword. So let's change this to like login view. Let's change that view to login view. That's what is conflicting.
But we use as the keyword as it is.
Huh?
Use it as it is.
I use what? Okay.
Login is a keyword. Okay, you are using it.
Yeah. So I used it. I used it as a view name. That what caused it. So let's go ahead and try it again. So now I'm still logged out, right? So I'll try to log in from here, and then click on login, and it takes me somewhere else. Right. So I believe that has worked. So if I refresh this, I've now been logged in. Right. So logged in has worked successfully.
It took us to register instead of home.
Yeah. I think let's see what's going on there. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's see what is going on there. Okay, it takes us to the same. I said sign up. So here should be home. Here should be home. Right there should be home. Okay, not sign up. Right. So let's log out again.
let's log out again. So I'll come here and then log out again. All right, come here and refresh and then log in again. And it takes us to a new page that says index.html does not exist, which is good. Which it actually did exist. So if I copy this thing is outside. So copy this and come here and paste it. All right, so now if I refresh this, I will now have a home page.
Yes, so we are going.
All right, so for the logout, we need the logout as well. So we copy the logout, we import the logout. That's the last thing we're going to do for today. Logout, import the logout. So for logout, we need that when someone comes to this view, we should log out that person. So to log out someone is to log out the request session. So it's simply log out in bracket request. That's all we need for the logout.
We change the keyword. It's always a keyword.
Yeah, it's true. Let me change this to logout view. Logout view and URL. I change this to logout view, and logout will be logout view. All right. So for the logout, that's how it works. Just that you log out the request. That's all for logout. So now if you come here, I'm logged in now. I believe I'm logged in now. I'm still logged out. All right, let's go to login. So I log in now, and it takes me to home page. And if I refresh, I'm now logging. So if I go to log out, I should be logged out from this home from here, right? I'm still logging now. So if I do /logout,
Logout view,
and it says you have logged out. Now if I come here and refresh, I've logged out.
there was no button to click. Okay. Can we put a button in that to log out?
Okay, button that says what?
Log out in the home.
Sorry? You mean like in the home?
Yeah, we'll just put like the index, put like logout, logout button.
Okay, so in order for the logout to show, you have to be sure that if we are logging, okay? So I can come here and say if user dot is authenticated. Okay.
When we are writing the code in HTML, put parentheses.
Yes. And also you end at that. So end if. And then I'll come here and I say link. It should be a link. Okay.
User we are calling is it the database table name database?
No, it's an object in a template. You can just use it without extra importing it. This thing you just check if someone has logged in or not logged in. Sorry. So now I want to check if you are logged in, then I should show you logout. Okay. Then else meaning that you are logging, or else meaning that you're not logging. Okay.
Okay. It's a keyword.
Else. Yes, it's a keyword. So else, if you're not logging, I want to show you. If you're not logging, I want to show you login. Okay. And as well as show you.
Very important for us to understand.
As well as show you sign up. All right, so I'll put a link there. A URL that takes us to home of login. Okay. Same URL again. Same URL takes us to register. And this other one here will take us to the logout itself. Okay.
And that is that for the homepage. So if I go back to our homepage, register. I think I've made a spelling. There. So if I refresh and I have login and log out, and sign up. So if I click on login and then login now, and I have log out. If I click on log out now, I'm now logged out. And if I come here and refresh, I am logged out. Now if let's go ahead and put a link there that says log back in. So I'll come here and say P. Click here to log back in. Login. And here will take us to account URL the home.login. Okay. All right. So if I refresh now I click here to log back in. If I click on it, it takes me down here. Remember, I'm still logged out. So if I click on login, I come back here and refresh. I'm now logging and now have the logout key. If I click on logout and come here and refresh, I'm now logged out. Any questions so far? That's the end of our class for today.
Yeah. So let me see the code for that HTML index.
The index.
All these codes are very important to know. I wish we even have more. This one they're saying is 10 days that is remaining. I wish we have like more 20 days. Like give us some challenging tasks that can make us to implement all these if-then functions, document those lists and the dictionary that we actually learn, make us to boost our morale in implementing Python codes in the website.
Okay.
Next one, maybe create like a calculator or black conversion rates, all those stuff.
Okay.
I know we can even get calculator front end. Front end, the design front end. And get them could write the code to sort it out.
Yeah.
But we don't know how to implement all this code. That's the problem. All this code. That's the problem. Yeah. For me, I don't know how. For others.
Okay. I think we'll discuss that in our Monday class anyway. So let me not keep anyone awake. All right. So that would be enough of today's class. That was a long class. That was a 4 hours class.
So can also have
Thank you, sir. Good night.
One more time.
Yeah, if it's possible, you guys should know. If you guys need some of it again, then you guys just let me know. Then I'll negotiate again and then fix it one more time.
Maybe next start to need it. It's very important.
No problem, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
All right. I'll see you guys on Monday.
Okay, sir.
It's next tomorrow. All right. Good night, all. For those of us that are still on the call. Good night and well done.
Good night, sir.
So remember my stage. My morale need to be high.
Don't worry, your morale will definitely be high.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.